Not really listening. Have you ever talked to someone and their eyes seemed somewhere else? Like their body was there, but their mind was on a different planet. That quiet disconnect is what not really listening feels like. It's more than just hearing sounds. It's about truly understanding what another person is offering you, a story, a feeling, or a quiet worry. For centuries, thinkers knew how important it is to truly pay attention. The ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This wasn't just about being polite. It was about truly grasping others' words and letting their feelings find a home, even for a moment, in your own mind. When we don't really listen, it's like we're building a wall, brick by brick, between ourselves and the person trying to reach us. Don't think about talking to a friend about something bothering you, like a bad test grade or a misunderstanding. You're sharing your feelings, hoping they'll get it, but your friend is staring at their phone, scrolling and nodding vaguely. They might say, "Oh, that's rough," but you know they haven't truly heard you. You can feel it. It's like throwing a pebble into a deep, dark well. You hear no splash. The message just disappears. And here's the thing. When this happens repeatedly, those little unheard moments weigh on the heart. It's not just about what isn't said, but what isn't received. Over time, that quiet wall grows taller, and the space between people, once filled with shared understanding, becomes a silent distance. Truly listening is a gift we give each other, a way of saying, "You matter, your words matter, and I am here for you." It's how we keep the connection alive, how we show love, without saying a single word. Always being right. Have you ever felt that quiet, strong urge inside you, a feeling that says, "I just have to be right"? It's like a tiny flame flickering, wanting to prove its point, to win the argument. We all feel it sometimes. But here's the thing, always needing to be right can slowly, quietly, chip away at the connections we share with people we care about. Think about it. When we hold on to being right so tightly, we might not hear what the other person is truly saying. We stop listening with our hearts and start listening only for openings to prove our own point. This isn't about facts anymore. It's about pride, about winning. And that win, sometimes, comes at a cost. Ancient thinkers and wise people through time have whispered about a different kind of strength. They said that true wisdom often comes from knowing what you don't know, from being open to other ideas. They believed that being humble, being willing to learn from others, opens up worlds you never knew existed. It's like a famous old saying, "The wise person knows they know nothing." It means being open, not closed off by your own certainty. Imagine, you and a friend are trying to remember a detail from a movie you both saw. Maybe it's the color of a character's jacket, or a specific line. You both feel sure you're right. You argue, a little bit louder, a little bit firmer, each of you holding on to your memory. Even if one of you wins the argument, what's left? A small feeling of tension, a tiny shadow between you. The movie detail wasn't as important as the feeling of comfort and ease you usually share. Sometimes, the need to be right just makes us miss the chance to be close. So, here's what happened in those moments. The need to be correct became bigger than the connection. Maybe the deepest truth isn't found in winning a point, but in sharing, a space where all voices can breathe. Perhaps being right isn't nearly as important as being kind, or understanding, or simply being there for someone. It's about choosing connection over conquest, every time. Keeping secrets, small. Have you ever held on to a small thought or action, keeping it just for yourself? It can feel like a tiny pebble in your shoe at first, easy to ignore. But if you leave that pebble there, day after day, it starts to dig in. Soon, it becomes a constant ache, heavier than it seems. Here's the thing about secrets, especially in relationships. They often begin very small, a little unspoken feeling, a small detail left out. Maybe you didn't mean harm, but real love, true connection, is like a clear window. You want to see through it completely. Keeping even tiny secrets adds a small smudge to that glass. Over time, those little smudges add up, making the view unclear. Long ago, wise people spoke about truth and openness. They believed hiding things, even small ones, made a person feel heavy inside, carrying a silent weight. It wasn't just what was hidden, but the act itself. This quietly builds a tiny wall, thought by thought, between you and someone you care about. Think about a clear pond. You can see to the bottom. Now, imagine dropping just one small handful of sand into that pond. It seems like nothing, But if you keep adding sand, the water clouds, you can't see through it anymore. A small secret is like that first bit of sand. It might seem harmless, but it clouds pure connection. So here's what truly helps. Letting light into those quiet, hidden corners. This choice brings deep peace. It's about building an open path, one honest step. True love isn't about being perfect. It's about being real, sharing small truths. This makes connections stronger, clearer, like a sky washed clean, full of honest light. The blame game. Have you ever found yourself pointing a finger when things go wrong? It's a quiet, almost automatic thing we do sometimes. This is the blame game. It's when we try to make someone else responsible for a problem, instead of looking at our own part in it. It feels easier in the moment, like pushing a heavy weight onto someone else's shoulders. People have done this for a very long time. Think about the oldest stories we know, even in the ancient tales, like the one about Adam and Eve. When something went wrong, the first reaction wasn't, "Oops, my bad." It was, "She made me do it," or "The serpent tricked me." It's a deep, human habit, a way our minds try to protect us from feeling bad or taking responsibility for something difficult. But here's the thing, it often makes things worse. Imagine a simple science experiment. You're trying to build a small circuit, and the light bulb doesn't turn on. Instead of looking at your wires, your battery, or your connections, you immediately say, "Well, the bulb is broken. It's faulty." You blame the bulb, but maybe you just didn't connect it right. Or maybe the battery is dead. When we blame, we stop looking for real solutions within ourselves. It's like looking through a foggy window, unable to see clearly what's actually happening. It keeps us stuck. But here's what I found. When we gently put down the finger we're pointing, and instead look within, a different kind of light appears. It's a soft, honest light that lets us truly understand. It's like a quiet rainfall that cleans the air, leaving everything fresh and clear. It helps us build something stronger, something new, together. Too much phone time. Have you ever sat across from someone, maybe a friend or a family member, and noticed their eyes were glued to a screen? It's like they're right there, but also a million miles away. This can happen to all of us, and it's a big deal when we talk about how love and connection can struggle. Here's the thing, our phones are amazing tools. They connect us to so much, but sometimes they connect us to everything except the person sitting next to us. Think about how people used to spend time together before phones were everywhere. They'd sit, talk, share silences, just be with each other. Philosophers, even ancient ones like the Greeks, often spoke about the importance of presence, truly being in the moment, fully aware of your surroundings and the people in them. That deep, shared attention was how bonds were made strong, like weaving a sturdy rope, thread by thread. Imagine you're trying to water a tiny, thirsty plant. If you pour water all over the ground next to it, the plant won't get enough to drink. It needs the water right at its roots. Our relationships are like that plant. They need the water of our attention, directed right at them. When our focus is scattered across a screen, scrolling through endless feeds, we're pouring that precious attention everywhere, but into the connection right in front of us. It's a silent taking away, a slow kind of fading, a quiet kind of neglect that love doesn't easily bounce back from. So, what does this mean for us? It means remembering that true connection isn't built on likes or quick messages, but on shared glances, listening ears, and the quiet comfort of just being together. It's about choosing to be truly present, even for just a little while each day. When we choose to look up, to really see the person beside us, that's when love finds its breath and grows. It's a quiet choice, but a powerful one, to truly be here, now, with open eyes and a ready heart. That's where real closeness begins and lasts. Forgetting the little things. Have you ever thought about how some of the most important things in life aren't big, dramatic moments? They're often quiet, almost invisible. We talk about love and friendship needing big gestures, but here's the thing, love also needs the tiny bits. It's like building a strong bridge. You need the huge steel beams, yes, but you also need countless small rivets and bolts to hold it all together. Forgetting the little things means we stop noticing. We stop seeing the small kindnesses, the tiny efforts, or the quiet details that make someone who they are. Maybe it's forgetting a favorite snack, or the way someone prefers their hot chocolate, or a small dream they shared. It's not about memory failing, but about attention fading. Old wisdom often tells us to find joy in the everyday. Ancient thinkers, like the Stoics, believed that true happiness wasn't found in grand events, but in appreciating the small, simple parts of life. They knew that human beings often overlook what is constant and quiet, focusing instead on what is loud and new. It's the same in relationships. We might remember a big fight, but do we remember all the times someone waited for us, or listened carefully, or just smiled at us across a room? Think about a plant in your home. You don't give it a huge flood of water once a year and expect it to thrive. No, you give it small sips of water often. Every day, a little bit. These small sips keep it alive, keep it growing. In the same way, relationships need those small, daily acts of noticing, of appreciating. It's remembering to say thank you for something tiny, or noticing a new haircut, or remembering a silly inside joke. When we forget these small details, it's like those tiny rivets in the bridge slowly coming loose. Nothing breaks with a bang, but the whole thing becomes weaker, less stable. The connection doesn't shatter. It just slowly, quietly loosens. And that's why it matters. Because true closeness isn't just built on big moments, but on the countless, small acts of really seeing and valuing each other every single day. Taking them for granted, have you ever noticed how easy it is to stop seeing the things that are always there? Like the quiet hum of the refrigerator, or the way the sun always rises without fail. We just expect them to be there, doing their job. And sometimes, we do that with people too. We forget to notice the kindness they show, the help they give, or just their steady presence. This is what it means to take someone for granted. It's like they become part of the background noise in our lives, always there, so we stop really hearing them. Thinkers, even way back in ancient times, talked about how important it is to feel thankful. The old Roman philosopher Seneca, for example, thought that not being grateful was like a sickness of the soul. He believed that when we stop noticing the good things, we miss out on a lot of joy. This idea, the struggle to appreciate what's right in front of us, is very old. Our minds sometimes get used to things so much that they just fade into the everyday. It's a bit like a plant in your room. If you have a plant, it just sits there. You water it, sure, but do you always look at its leaves, or remember how it grows? Maybe not every day. But here's what happens. If that plant starts to wilt, or isn't there one day, suddenly you notice its absence. You realize how much a little bit of green added to your space. It's the same with people. They're like that, steady presence. The beauty then is in remembering to truly see. It's about pausing and feeling a quiet thankfulness for the people who make your world a little bit warmer, a little bit safer. It's about letting their light shine, not just accepting it. Because when we choose to notice, we don't just make them feel seen. We open our own hearts to a deeper kind of connection, a richer way of living. And that, here's the thing, can make all the difference in keeping love alive. Making fun of feelings. Have you ever seen someone try to shrink a big feeling with a small joke? Or laugh when another person is truly upset? It's a strange thing, this habit of making fun of feelings. It happens when someone is sad, or scared, or really angry, and instead of listening, another person tries to brush it away with a sarcastic comment, or by saying, "You're too sensitive." Here's the thing, feelings are real. They are not silly. For a very long time, in history, some people believed that showing strong emotions, especially sadness or fear, made you seem weak. They thought it was better to be like a stone, unmoving and calm, no matter what. So, if someone showed a lot of emotion, others might try to fix them with a laugh or a dismissive wave. Almost like saying, "Your feelings don't belong here." Think of your feelings like messages from your body and mind. Imagine your body has a smoke detector. When there's smoke, a strong feeling like fear or sadness, the alarm goes off. It's loud, it demands attention, and it tells you something important is happening. Now, imagine someone hears the alarm and says, "Ha, what a silly noise. It's just a little smoke." They ignore the warning. Making fun of feelings is like silencing that alarm. It doesn't make the smoke go away. It just makes it harder for everyone to deal with what's really there. So, when someone makes fun of a feeling, they are not just joking. They are saying the feeling isn't important. They are trying to shut down a part of a person's truth. Every feeling, big or small, quiet or loud, holds a piece of information. When we respect those feelings, both in ourselves and in others, we open a path to understanding. It helps us learn what is truly happening inside someone's heart. The silent treatment. Have you ever felt a sudden quiet that isn't peaceful, but heavy? A silence that feels like a wall built right between you and someone else. That's often what the silent treatment is. It's when someone chooses to stop talking to you, not because they are busy or deep in thought, but as a deliberate way to pull away or to show they are upset. It's a choice to close off communication, leaving you wondering and feeling alone. For a long time, across many different cultures, silence has been used as a powerful tool. Sometimes it was a sign of deep respect or reflection, but other times it became a form of punishment. Imagine old communities where being shunned meant no one would speak to you or even look at you. It was a terrible feeling, designed to make a person feel completely invisible, cut off from the group. This shows us how deeply we humans need to connect and be acknowledged. Think about a small plant in a pot. It needs sunlight and water to grow and stay healthy. If you put that plant in a dark closet and never give it water, what happens? It starts to wilt. Its leaves droop and it loses its color. Eventually, it can't live. Our relationships are kind of like that plant. They need constant light, which is communication, and they need the water of shared feelings and understanding. When someone gives the silent treatment, they are like the person who pulls the plant into the dark and stops watering it. They are holding back the very things that help connection grow. This kind of silence doesn't fix problems. It makes them bigger. It doesn't invite understanding. It builds a cold, lonely space between people. Here's the thing. Love and friendship need voices. They need words, even when those words are hard to say. They need honest feelings, even when those feelings are messy. Real connection doesn't grow behind a silent wall. It grows when we are brave enough to speak and kind enough to listen, even when it feels like the hardest thing to do. Comparing them to others. Have you ever found yourself looking at someone you care about, maybe a friend or a family member, and then, without even meaning to, comparing them to someone else, maybe to a famous person, or a character in a movie, or even just another friend? It's a quiet habit, almost like a whisper in our minds. But here's the thing. It can be a really tricky path for our relationships. This isn't a new idea. This pull to compare. For a long time, thinkers have explored how we see ideals versus reality. Imagine the ancient Greeks, for example. They had ideas about perfect forms, a perfect circle, a perfect horse. But in real life, nothing is ever truly perfect in that way. Everything has its own shape, its own unique edges. So, when we compare a real person, with all their human quirks and colors, to some perfect image we have in our heads, or to someone else's highlight reel, we're setting up an unfair game. Think about a time you've been working on a drawing. You put your heart into it, every line, every shade. Then you see someone else's drawing. Maybe it looks super professional, like it belongs in a museum. And suddenly, your own art feels not enough. It doesn't mean your drawing isn't good or special. It just means you're looking at it through the lens of comparison. It's the same in relationships. When we start thinking, my friend isn't as funny as their friend, or my sister doesn't listen like that character in the book, we dim the light on the person right in front of us. We start seeing what they lack instead of what they are. And that's why it matters. Every person is their own universe, full of stars and shadows no one else has. When we hold them up next to another, measuring them against a different map, we forget to explore the unique world they offer. Instead of seeing the quiet beauty of their unique constellation, we get lost searching for a different one. The deepest love isn't about finding the best person. It's about truly seeing and cherishing the beautiful, sometimes imperfect, reality of the person right beside you, and letting them shine just as they are. Holding on to old fights. Have you ever noticed how some arguments, even small ones, can feel like they leave a stubborn mark? It's like a faint stain that just won't wash out. Here's the thing. Sometimes, we carry these old disagreements with us, often without realizing it. We replay them in our minds, or we bring them up again when something new happens. This is holding on to old fights. It's not just remembering, it's letting the dust from yesterday's storm cloud today's sunshine. Think about a scratched music record. It might skip back to the same spot. You can't hear the rest of the song, just that one skipped part. Our minds can do this with old arguments. We get stuck on the skip, replaying hurtful words or unfair feelings. We do this instead of moving forward in the song of our relationship. Wise thinkers long ago understood how important it is to live in the now. They knew That clinging to the past, especially painful parts, takes away from the present. The ancient philosopher Epictetus taught we can't control what happened, but we can control how we react and how long it affects us. He believed holding on to anger was like punishing ourselves for someone else's mistake. It's like holding a hot coal, expecting the other person to get burned. So, why do we do it? Sometimes it's because we feel unheard, or want to make sure it never happens again. But here's what I found. Dragging old fights into new moments doesn't make things better. It makes the space between people smaller, colder. When we let go of that old, heavy baggage, we make room for something lighter. We allow kindness to breathe, and trust to grow, in the fresh air of the present. It's a choice to stop replaying the scratch. It's a choice to listen for the next note. Never saying sorry first. Have you ever had a disagreement with someone you really care about? A friend, a sibling, or even a parent? Maybe you both knew things went a bit wrong, but neither of you wanted to be the first to say I'm sorry. It's a common feeling. This stubborn quietness. It feels like a small battle, doesn't it? Like if you say sorry first, you're admitting defeat, or saying it was all your fault. But here's the thing. Holding back those two small words can do more damage than you might imagine. It's like a tiny, quiet whisper that grows louder over time, filling the space between people with silence. This silence, full of unspoken words, starts to build a wall, brick by quiet brick, each time you don't apologize first, even when you know in your heart it's needed. Another brick goes up. This struggle with pride, with not wanting to seem wrong, is a very old human story. For ages, people have found it hard to admit fault. It's a bit like a knight in shining armor, sometimes so focused on protecting their honor that they forget about building connections. This pride can feel like strength, guarding us, but often it traps us, too. It keeps us from being truly brave. Imagine you have a beautiful piece of fabric, like a warm blanket. When there's a small tear, you can easily mend it with a single stitch. But if you leave it, the tear gets bigger with every pull, every movement, until the blanket is ruined. An apology is like that stitch. It's a small act that prevents a bigger tear. It shows you care about the blanket, the relationship, more than you care about being right. So, saying I'm sorry first isn't about losing, it's about choosing to mend. It's about being strong enough to put down your pride and reach out. It's about showing the person you care about that your connection, your shared peace, matters more than who was right or wrong. It's a quiet act of courage, and it helps love breathe again. Making everything a big deal. Have you ever felt like a small pebble could somehow make the whole sky fall? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like a tiny annoyance, a forgotten text, or a casual comment suddenly feels like the biggest problem in the world. This is making everything a big deal. It's when our minds take something small, something that barely needs a second thought, and blow it up into a huge, overwhelming drama. We give it too much power, too much space in our heads. Think about ancient thinkers, like the Stoics in Greece and Rome. Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote about this. They believed most of our troubles aren't caused by things that happen to us, but by how we think about those things. If someone accidentally bumps you, it's not the bump that makes you furious. It's your idea that they did it on purpose, or that it's deeply unfair. The Stoics would say, it's not the event, but your judgment about the event. They knew we often create our own storms, even when the real weather is just a breeze. Imagine building a tall tower with blocks. You spend a long time on it, and then one tiny piece falls off. Instead of just putting it back, you get so upset that you kick the whole tower over. That's like making everything a big deal. The small piece was fixable, but your reaction ruined the whole project. In real life, maybe a friend forgets to include you in a group chat. Instead of thinking, maybe they just forgot, you decide they don't like you, and suddenly, the whole friendship feels broken. So, here's the thing. What if we could learn to see things for what they truly are? A small block, not the whole tower falling. A forgotten text, not a broken friendship. It's like having a special filter for your thoughts. This filter helps you understand the true size of a problem. When we choose not to make everything a big deal, we create a quiet kind of peace inside ourselves. We protect our calm. That calm is a powerful thing. It lets us see the light, even when little shadows try to cover it. Letting jealousy grow. If you ever noticed how a tiny seed, if left alone, can become a huge, sprawling plant? What about a feeling that starts small, almost like a whisper, but then grows louder and louder until it's all you can hear? That quiet whisper can be jealousy. It often begins as a small worry, a fear of losing someone important, or maybe feeling left out. It's a feeling that tells you someone else might take what you value, or get attention you think should be yours. But here's the thing, if we don't look at it, if we let it sit and grow, it can really start to take over. Think about people from ancient times. Long, long ago, they felt these same things. Philosophers and thinkers from Greece to China wondered about emotions like jealousy. They saw how it could twist hearts and break bonds. They understood that these feelings aren't new. They're part of being human. And they learned that to find peace, you often have to face these tough feelings, not just ignore them. Imagine a small patch of rust on a bike. At first, it's just a tiny orange spot, easy to miss. But if you don't clean it, if you just let the rain and air get to it, that rust will spread. It will eat away at the metal, weakening the frame, until the bike isn't safe to ride anymore. Jealousy can be like that rust for our relationships. A tiny bit can grow into something that weakens the very connection we cherish. So, the wisdom isn't about never feeling jealous. It's about recognizing that first tiny spot. It's about noticing the whisper before it becomes a shout. Because understanding these feelings, and where they come from, is the first step in keeping them from destroying the beautiful things we have. It helps us protect what's good. Not trusting easily. Have you ever felt that quiet tug, deep inside, telling you to hold back, even when someone offers kindness? It's like a tiny, unseen whisper. This feeling, this natural caution, is what we call not trusting easily. It's a habit. Imagine building a soft, invisible wall around your heart, brick by careful brick. You build it to stay safe, to keep out any possible hurt, remembering what might have happened before. This isn't a new idea. Humans have felt this for a very long time. Thinkers from ancient times often wrote about why we learn to be careful. It's like when you touch something hot once, you remember that heat, and you learn to be gentle next time. Our feelings work the same way. If a promise was broken, or a friendship felt shaky, our hearts learn to put up a guard. It's a quiet way of trying to protect what's soft and vulnerable inside us. Consider a very old, wise tree. After a big storm, its branches might bend, or it might grow roots deeper to hold on tighter. It doesn't mean the tree is bad. It's just learned to be strong and careful. In the same way, when we've been let down, our hearts might grow a bit more cautious. We might hesitate to fully lean on someone new, not because we don't want to, but because our past experiences have taught us a kind of quiet self-defense. It's a basic human reaction, a way our inner self tries to stay whole. But here's what this habit can do. While it keeps danger away, it can also keep out the gentle sunlight of true connection. Love, real love, asks us for something special. It asks us to slowly, bravely, lower those invisible walls. It's a quiet act of courage to believe in goodness again, to let light and warmth come close, even when old shadows linger. For a heart that never learns to open, even just a little, might miss the most beautiful dances of all. Hiding your true self. Have you ever felt like you needed to act a certain way, depending on who you were with? Maybe quieter, or funnier, or liking something you didn't. Hiding the real you can slowly chip away at love, like waves against a stone. Real connection means showing your genuine self, but we often hold back. We might not share deep thoughts, or admit fears, or even pretend to agree just to avoid a problem. People have always worried about showing their true selves. Thinkers long ago called it wearing a mask. It's like acting a part instead of just being yourself, especially with someone you want close. Imagine your favorite song. It has quiet parts, strong beats, maybe a quirky rhythm you love. If you played it for someone, but skipped parts you worried they wouldn't like, would they truly hear your song? No, they'd only hear a watered-down version. When we hide parts of ourselves, our quirks, fears, true dreams, we don't let the other person truly hear us, and that's the problem. Love grows in honesty's light. When we hide who we are, we build quiet, invisible walls. The other person connects only with the person we pretend to be, not the real, wonderful you. This can leave both people feeling a little lonely, even when they're together. You can't fully love someone you don't fully know, and you can't feel fully loved if you believe they only love a part of you that isn't truly real. Always needing to win. Have you ever been in an argument, even a small one, where it felt like one person just couldn't let it go, like they had to have the last word, or be proven right, no matter what? This feeling, this constant need to win every point, is a quiet habit. It can gently, almost secretly, pull apart the strong threads that hold love together. Long ago, thinkers in places like ancient Greece loved to debate. They believed in the power of words, using them to find truth and understand the world better. But even they knew there's a big difference between exploring ideas together and just trying to make someone else feel wrong. It's a natural human urge, sometimes, to want to be on top, to feel correct. But love, true love, asks us to put that urge aside, at least sometimes. Think about two people trying to build a sandcastle together. If one person always insists their way is the only way, always rearranges the other's towers, and points out every small mistake, what happens? The fun drains away. The teamwork stops. Soon, only one person is building, and the other just stands there, feeling defeated and not part of it anymore. A relationship is like building that sandcastle. It takes two hands, working together, not one hand correcting the other all the time. Here's the thing, love isn't a game you win or lose. It's more like a quiet, calm lake. If you keep throwing rocks into it, insisting your aim is perfect, the water gets choppy. It stops reflecting the clear sky. When every talk becomes a battle to be won, we stop listening with our hearts. We stop seeing the other person as our teammates and start seeing them as an opponent. And in that space, where hearts feel like they need to defend themselves, the gentle, flowing feeling of love finds it very hard to stay clear and calm. Real connection blossoms when we are willing to put down our need to be right and simply choose to be together. Being too needy. Have you ever felt a quiet ache inside? A whisper telling you that you can't quite be okay unless someone else is giving you attention. This feeling, when it grows too big, is called being needy. It's a habit where your happiness feels tied to another person's presence or their approval. But a true connection, a lasting love, isn't about one person filling empty spaces in another. It's about two people, standing strong, side by side, sharing their worlds. Think about how people have thought about happiness for a long time. Even ancient thinkers, like those in old Greece, talked about finding peace right inside yourself. They believed your calm heart shouldn't rely on outside things or other people. This idea isn't about being alone. It's about building a strong, quiet center within yourself, a place where you feel okay. That way, when you connect with others, it's not because you need them to fix something, but because you want to share something beautiful. Imagine a delicate, blossoming flower. It needs sunlight and water to grow, right? This is like the care we give in relationships. But what happens if you keep pouring water on that flower, day and night, even when the soil is soaked? Its roots will drown. The flower will wither. It's the same in human connections. A relationship needs nourishment. But if one person constantly asks for more, always needing reassurance, it can overwhelm the other person. Their own peace, which needs room to grow, can get waterlogged. It stops being about two people growing together and starts feeling like one person is trying to drink up all the other's energy. So, being too needy isn't about wanting to feel close. It's an imbalance, a deep need someone else might not be able to fill. Trying to force them to can quietly push them away. True love shines when two people feel secure and okay on their own, bringing their whole selves to the connection. It's like two sturdy trees in a wide forest, standing tall and strong next to each other. They offer shade, but neither needs to lean entirely on the other. Our best connections bloom when we are already whole within ourselves, ready to simply share, not giving space. Have you ever felt like you just needed a moment, just for yourself? A quiet breath, a chance to think your own thoughts. It's a feeling everyone knows. But what happens when that simple need for space disappears in a relationship? Here's the thing: sometimes, in our closest connections, we forget that everyone, even those we love most, needs their own room to grow. Not giving space means wanting to be together all the time, needing to know what the other person is doing every second, or not letting them have their own friends and hobbies without you being part of it. It's like wrapping someone up too tightly, leaving no room for them to simply be themselves. People have talked about this need for centuries. Philosophers, even ancient ones, understood that each person has their own inner world, their own private thoughts and feelings that make them unique. They believed this self needed room to breathe, to dream, to figure things out without constant observation. It's not about being distant, it's about having a place where your mind can stretch and explore. Think of it like this. Imagine a beautiful tree. It needs good soil, water, and sunlight to grow strong and tall. But it also needs space around it. If other plants are constantly pressing in, taking all the light and nutrients, that tree won't reach its full potential. It might even struggle to stay healthy. People are a lot like that tree. We need our own space to develop our own ideas, to explore our interests, and to just have time alone with our thoughts. If someone is always there, always needing your attention, it can feel suffocating. So, in the end, love isn't about holding on so tightly that the other person can't move. It's about understanding that true connection blooms from trust and respect. It means giving each other the freedom to be whole individuals, knowing that when you give them that space, your bond actually becomes deeper, more real, and truly able to flourish. Ignoring their hobbies. Have you ever watched someone's face light up when they talk about something they truly love? Maybe it's a sport, or drawing, or building things with their hands. Their eyes get wider, their voice changes, they seem to glow from the inside. This is their hobby, a special corner of their world where they feel most alive. But here's the thing, what happens if you never ask about it? What if you always change the subject, or act like it doesn't matter? For a long time, thinkers have said that to truly know someone, you need to understand what makes them happy. It's not just about what people do for work or school. It's about the simple joys, the activities that make their spirit hum. Their hobbies are like secret pathways into their soul, showing you what brings them peace, excitement, or a sense of purpose. When we ignore these pathways, we're missing a big part of who they are. Think about a song. A beautiful melody is made of many different notes. Some are loud and clear, easy to hear. Others are softer, tucked away, but they add so much to the music. If you only listen to the parts you like, or ignore the notes you don't understand, you miss the whole melody. You miss the song's true feeling. A person's hobbies are like those unique, softer notes. They add to the whole, rich song of who that person is. So, when we ignore someone's hobbies, it's like we're not listening to their song. We're saying, that part of you isn't important to me. And over time, that silence can grow. It can make someone feel unseen, unheard, like a piece of their music is being turned down. But paying attention, even just a little, is like saying, I see you, I hear your song, and it's beautiful. It's a quiet way of showing love and respect, acknowledging the whole, wonderful person. Only talking about yourself. Have you ever been talking with a friend, and somehow, every single story, every single idea, always circles back to them? You share something about your day, and suddenly, they're telling you about theirs, but only about their part, not really asking about yours. It's like they're holding a microphone and just can't quite pass it over. Here's the thing. Conversation isn't a one-person show. It's a shared space, a give and take, a place where two minds meet. Think of it like a game of catch. One person throws the ball, the other catches it, and then they throw it back. If only one person ever throws the ball, or if they keep throwing it to themselves, the game doesn't really work. The other person just stands there, watching, eventually feeling left out. Long ago, thinkers like the ancient Greeks understood this. They called deep talking dialogistai, which is where we get the word dialogue. For them, a true dialogue was about two people exchanging ideas, truly listening, and learning from each other. It wasn't about one person lecturing, or just sharing their own thoughts. It was about building something together, piece by piece. With words, when someone only talks about themselves, they might not mean to, but they create a wall instead of a bridge. It can make the person listening feel invisible, like their thoughts don't matter, or that their voice isn't important enough to be heard. Imagine a room with a bright, blinding spotlight always shining on just one person. Everyone else in the room is in the shadows. That's what it can feel like. Real connection grows when we share the spotlight, when we truly listen and make room for another person's world. It's about creating a safe space where both people feel seen and heard. When we remember that conversations are a shared dance, not a solo performance, we can build stronger, more beautiful connections with the people we care about. Whispering behind backs. Imagine a quiet room. Someone leans in, whispers something about another person. What happens to that small, soft sound? That's whispering behind backs. It's not just talking quietly. It's talking about someone in a way you wouldn't if they were standing right there. It's often about sharing negative things, or things that aren't even true, when that person isn't around to defend themselves. For a long time, people have understood how harmful this can be. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosopher Plato, warned about gossip. He believed that before you say something about another person, you should ask yourself 3 questions. Is it true? Is it good? Is it useful? If it's not all 3, maybe it shouldn't be said at all. It's about thinking before speaking, especially when someone's reputation or feelings are involved. Think of it like this. Imagine a clean pane of glass. When you whisper something unkind about someone, it's like throwing a tiny pebble at that glass. One pebble might not do much, but if enough people keep throwing them, even small ones, soon there's a crack, or maybe many tiny chips. The glass isn't clear anymore. It's damaged, and it's hard to put it back together perfectly, even if you try. That's what happens to trust and kindness when words are used carelessly behind someone's back. So, when we choose to whisper about others, we're not just sharing information, we're also shaping how others see that person. And more deeply, we're shaping the space between us all. It slowly erodes the trust that holds friendships and relationships together. Instead of building bridges with our words, we create silent, invisible walls. It reminds us that our words, even soft ones, carry weight. They can build or break, connect or separate. And the most beautiful connections are built on openness, not shadows. Rolling your eyes. Have you ever seen someone roll their eyes? Or maybe you've done it yourself without even thinking. It's just a tiny, quick movement of your eyes, looking up and then down, sometimes with a little sigh. But here's the thing. This small action, often so fast it almost goes unnoticed, speaks really loudly. It sends a message without using any words at all. What does it really mean when someone rolls their eyes at you? It's often a sign of dismissal, like saying, "I don't care what you're saying," or "I think what you're saying is silly." It can also show disrespect, making the other person feel unimportant. Think about it. Ancient philosophers, even without knowing about modern body language studies, understood that our actions, big or small, reveal what's truly inside us. They knew that gestures, just like words, carry meaning. Rolling your eyes is a way to show contempt or disapproval without having to speak. It's like a secret signal that says, "I'm judging you," or "I think I'm better than you right now." Imagine you're trying to tell a friend about something really exciting that happened to you. Maybe a cool play you saw in a game, or a great idea you had for a project. You're sharing your heart, and they just slowly roll their eyes. How does that feel inside? It's like a little door slamming shut. It feels dismissive. It can make you feel small, like your thoughts don't matter. This small gesture can quietly, slowly, crack the foundation of trust. It's like a tiny crack in a window pane. One small crack might not seem like much, but over time, it lets in cold air, and the whole room starts to feel uncomfortable, and unwelcoming. So, this quick flick of the eyes might seem harmless, just a habit, but over time, when it happens again and again, it chips away at the feeling of being heard and respected in a relationship. It reminds us that even our smallest movements have power. They can build up connection, or they can quietly, gently, break it down. And that's why it matters to think about what our bodies are saying, even when our mouths are silent. Saying whatever too often, ever just say whatever when you don't really mean it, or when a conversation feels tough and you just want it to end. That little word, whatever, seems so small, right? But here's the thing, it's more than just a word. It's like a tiny, invisible wall we build between ourselves and someone else. When we say it, sometimes it means, "I don't care about this," or "it doesn't matter to me." But what it really does is shut down connection. It stops the conversation from growing, like a gate slamming shut. Think about old thinkers, like the ancient Greek philosophers. They spent their lives talking, asking questions, and truly listening to each other. They believed that really hearing someone and trying to understand their point of view was super important. When you say whatever, you're not really listening. You're not trying to understand. It's almost like saying, "My thoughts are finished, and yours don't really count right now." It's the opposite of what people like Socrates believed in. Deep talk, real engagement, whatever creates a silence, but it's not a peaceful quiet. It's an empty one. Imagine you're playing a team sport, like basketball, or even working on a group project for school. If someone on your team keeps saying whatever every time you try to plan or share ideas, what happens? The team starts to feel disconnected, right? No one feels heard. No one feels like their effort or ideas matter. That's exactly what whatever does in friendships or relationships. It makes the other person feel like their feelings or thoughts are not important. and that makes the team of two people, or a group of friends, weaker. It's like a tiny crack that can spread and break things apart. So that little word, whatever, holds a lot of power. Even though it seems small, it can quietly chip away at the trust and care between people. It's not just a quick thing you say. It's a quiet way of turning away. It teaches us to really think about the words we choose, even the ones we might say without thinking. Because every word is like a tiny thread, and all those threads weave together to make the fabric of how we connect with others. We want that fabric to be super strong and beautiful, not full of tiny holes. Not keeping promises. Have you ever felt a tiny shift, a quiet tremor, when someone you count on doesn't do what they said they would? It's not just about a forgotten chore or a missed meeting. It's about something deeper, something that connects two people. When we promise something, we offer a part of our future. We say, "You can rely on me for this." It's like drawing a clear line in the sand, saying, "I will be here." But what happens when that line gets erased? When promises are broken, even small ones, a quiet question begins to echo in the space between people. Can I truly trust what you say? This idea isn't new. For centuries, across different cultures, people understood that your word was your bond. In ancient times, an oath was serious business, sometimes even more powerful than a written contract. It was believed to be a part of your very honor, a reflection of who you were inside. Think of it like a bridge. Each time you keep a promise, you're like a builder, carefully placing a strong new plank. The bridge gets stronger, wider, easier to cross. You feel safe walking on it. But every time a promise is broken, it's like a plank gets removed, or maybe a tiny crack appears. At first, you might not notice it, but over time, if too many planks are gone, or too many cracks appear, the bridge becomes wobbly. It feels unsafe. You might hesitate to cross it, or even avoid it altogether. In relationships, those bridges are trust. They are the pathways of connection. When promises aren't kept, those pathways slowly begin to crumble. It leaves behind a feeling of uncertainty, a quiet sorrow. So, remember the gentle power of your word. It's not just sound. It's a promise, a link, a connection. Cherish it and keep it, for it builds the very foundation of caring between people. Letting small annoyances build. Have you ever noticed how a tiny, quiet drip of water can, over many years, carve a deep groove into solid stone? Or how a single, almost invisible crack in glass can slowly, patiently spiderweb across an entire pane? It often begins so small, almost too small to notice, too easy to ignore. It's like that with our feelings, and with the connections we share with others. In any relationship, little things happen. A habit someone has that softly grates on you, a word they use that feels a bit off, a glance that seems dismissive. Alone, these moments might seem insignificant, just a tiny pebble in your shoe maybe. You tell yourself, "It's nothing, I'll just ignore it." And perhaps, for a while, you do. But here's the thing, those small pebbles don't just disappear, they start to collect. They stack up, one on top of the other, quietly, steadily. Think about what ancient wise people often talked about, the idea that big troubles usually start as small, overlooked details, like a gardener who sees a few weeds, but shrugs them off, only to find the whole garden choked later on. It's about tending to things, really caring for them, while they are still manageable. Imagine you have a beautiful, cherished vase. It gets a tiny chip on the rim. You barely notice it. But then you bump it again, and another tiny piece flakes off. Over time, that small chip becomes a weakness. The vase might even start to develop a hairline crack, slowly spreading, making the whole thing fragile. Our emotional connections are a bit like that vase. Every time something bothers you, even a little, and you don't gently address it, it's like another tiny chip. Each unsaid annoyance, each shrugged off hurt, adds another layer of vulnerability. Soon, those small chips are no longer small. They form a collection of unspoken burdens, making the bond feel brittle, easy to break. So, this is why it matters. Speaking up, with kindness and calm, about those little things, is a powerful act of love. It's not about complaining. It's about protecting something precious. A soft conversation now can prevent a hard silence later. It means giving your connections the gentle attention they need, even when the problem seems small, because true strength often comes from mending the tiny breaks before they become huge rifts. The endless nagging, Have you ever felt like you're saying the same thing again and again, like a broken record stuck on repeat? That feeling, when your words seem to just bounce off someone, never quite landing. That's what we call nagging. It's more than a simple reminder. It's when you keep asking or telling someone to do something, over and over, even after they've heard you. It's a steady stream of requests, sometimes quiet complaints, that keeps flowing. Think about an old, wise saying, constant dropping wears away a stone. Imagine a single drop of water falling on a rock. Alone, it does nothing, but countless drops, over years, can carve a deep groove, even where the stone's smooth. Philosophers long ago understood how steady pressure changes things. This isn't just about rocks. It's about people too. When we nag, our words are like those steady drops. Here's how it can feel to the other person. This can help you understand. Imagine your favorite song playing softly. It feels nice. But then, someone starts to press the repeat button on just one short part of the song, over and over. At first, it's a little annoying, but soon, your ears start to ignore it. Your brain actually tunes it out. It becomes noise you don't even hear anymore, even if it's loud. That's what happens when someone is constantly nagged. The words lose their meaning. They just become background noise, and that's why it matters. Nagging doesn't create understanding or closeness. Instead, it creates distance. It teaches the other person to build a wall, to tune you out, almost like a defense. It pushes love away instead of drawing it near. So, when we feel the urge to repeat ourselves, maybe it's a sign to pause, maybe it's a chance to find a different way, to connect, a gentler way, a way that truly speaks to the heart. Not helping out. Have you ever noticed how some plants lean on each other for support, or how a team only truly works when everyone plays their part? What happens when one person in a friendship, or even in a family, seems to do all the heavy lifting? This quiet habit, not helping out, can slowly, softly, pull things apart, like a gentle fraying of a strong rope. It's not always about big, grand gestures. Sometimes it's the small, everyday things that pile up. It's the dishes left for someone else after a shared meal, the forgotten promise to pick up groceries, or the silence when a friend needs a hand with something difficult. For centuries, across different cultures, human groups thrived because everyone contributed, whether it was hunting and gathering, building shelters, or simply listening. Shared effort was key to survival and well-being. Thinkers from long ago, like the ancient Greeks, understood the power of reciprocity, a big word for the simple idea of give and take. It means that for things to be fair and strong, there has to be a mutual exchange, a balance where both people feel seen and valued. Imagine a group project for school. One person stays up late, researching, writing, making the slides perfect. The others, they might offer ideas now and then, but mostly, they just watch. How does that make the hard-working student feel? Probably tired, maybe frustrated, and certainly not valued. This feeling can sneak into friendships and family bonds. It's like a tiny crack in a window pane. At first, you barely notice it, but over time, with every bit of wind and rain, that tiny crack can grow, weakening the whole structure until it's ready to shatter. When we don't help out, we might be telling others, without words, that their time or effort isn't as important as ours. We might be saying that their struggles are theirs alone to carry. But love, true connection, is built on shared weight. It's knowing someone has your back, that you're not alone on the journey. It's about the quiet comfort of mutual support, where burdens are lighter because they are shared, and that's why shared effort makes love bloom, creating a steady, gentle rhythm that keeps hearts beating together, strong and safe. Expecting perfection. Have you ever thought about how much we expect from others, or even from ourselves? It's a curious thing, this idea of perfect. Sometimes, we carry around a picture in our minds, how a friend should always act, how a date should always go, or how a relationship should never have a single bump. We imagine something spotless, flawless, completely without error. This kind of thinking can make us miss the quiet joys of real life. But here's the thing about perfection. It's mostly a dream. For a long time, people have wondered about this. Ancient Greek thinkers, like the philosopher Plato, imagined ideal forms a perfect circle that could only exist in thought. They knew that in our real world, the world we touch and see, everything is a little bit less than perfect. A drawn circle always has a slight wobble. A beautiful flower eventually wilts. They called these ideas forms, and understood they weren't for our everyday world. Expecting perfection from people we care about is similar. Imagine a beloved houseplant. You water it, you give it light, and it grows. Sometimes a leaf might turn a bit yellow, or a new sprout might not grow exactly straight. If you expected every leaf to be perfectly green, perfectly shaped, all the time, you'd spend your days feeling disappointed. You'd miss the beauty of its real, living growth, even with its tiny quirks. This is because real life is about accepting things as they are, not as we wish they would be. So, what does this tell us about love and friendship? It means that real beauty, real connection, isn't found in something without flaws. It's in accepting and even loving the little quirks, the mistakes, the bumps along the way. When we let go of needing everything to be perfect, we open our hearts to a much wider, more honest kind of happiness. We learn to see the messy, beautiful truth of things, and that's a deep kind of peace. The I told you so trap. Ever felt that tiny thrill when someone makes a mistake and you knew it was coming? Maybe you gave them advice, they didn't take it, and then boom, things went wrong. In that moment, there's a strong urge to say, I told you so. It feels good, right? Like a small victory. But those 4 short words can quietly destroy connection. Since ancient times, people have thought about wanting to be right. It's natural to want our ideas to matter. But being wise and showing off your whys are very different things. When we say, I told you so, we're not offering comfort or help. We're just pointing out their mistake. It's about proving, not helping. And that feels a lot like pride. It builds a wall, not a way forward. Imagine your friend builds a block tower. You suggest a wider base. They don't listen, and it falls. Your first thought, I told you so. But then, your friend feels bad, maybe defensive. They don't learn. They just feel shamed. It's like a struggling plant. You wouldn't kick it and say, I knew you'd fail. You'd water it, give it sunlight, try to help it grow. The I told you so is like that kick. It hurts more than it helps. True care isn't about scoring points or proving you're smarter. It's about being a safe place for someone, even when they stumble. Real strength is kindness, not judgment. When we choose to care instead of being right, we build a strong bridge. Mistakes become chances to learn, not reasons for shame. And that's how love truly lasts. It grows when we offer a hand, not a reminder of a fall. Never being excited for them. Have you ever shared something really good, like making the team or finishing a big art project, and the person you told just nodded or quickly changed the subject? That bright moment you wanted to share suddenly felt smaller, didn't it? Like a balloon deflating. This is a quiet habit that can hurt our connections. It's when we stop truly celebrating the joys of others, not just big wins, but even small, everyday happy moments. Their good news doesn't spark light in us. We don't smile with them. For a long time, humans have needed to feel seen and celebrated. Think about old communities. When one person had a good harvest, everyone shared the celebration. It wasn't just about food. It was about shared joy, feeling we are in this together. They knew celebrating together made their bonds stronger. Imagine you're excited about a new song you wrote. You play it for someone, but they barely listen. Then talk about something else. Your excitement feels unnoticed. In relationships, when someone shares their joy, it's like them holding out that new song for you. If you don't truly hear it, their light dims. A quiet distance grows between you. So, here's the thing. When we consistently don't show excitement for someone, even for their smallest joys, we tell them their happiness doesn't matter. We tell them their light isn't worth sharing. Over time, they might stop sharing those good things. They might stop shining as brightly around us. The silence can become a cold, empty space. But when we truly celebrate with someone, even just a little, we show them they are seen and valued. Their happiness truly adds to our own. It keeps warmth and connection strong. Bringing up old mistakes. Have you ever felt like a shadow from yesterday suddenly appears in your day, even when the sun is shining brightly? Sometimes, in our closest relationships, we do something similar. We reach back into the past and pull out old mistakes, old arguments, things that were supposed to be over and done. When we bring up old mistakes, it's like we're not just remembering the past, we're dragging it, heavy and bruised, right into our present moment. It feels unfair. It makes trust wobble. It builds walls instead of bridges between people. The problem is, Once a mistake is talked about, understood, and hopefully forgiven, it needs to be left behind. It's like clearing a path. You remove the rocks and debris so you can walk smoothly. But if you keep bringing those rocks back, the path never truly becomes clear. Think about a cut on your hand. It hurts at first, but then your body starts to heal it, forming a scab. That scab is your body's way of saying, "I'm fixing this." Now, what happens if you keep picking at that scab? It tears open again. It starts bleeding. It can't heal properly. It leaves a deeper scar, or maybe even stays an open wound. Our hearts and our relationships work a bit like that with old mistakes. If we keep picking at old wounds, they never truly close. They can't get better. Many wise thinkers throughout history have talked about the power of letting go. They knew that holding on to yesterday's hurts keeps us stuck. True growth in any relationship means moving forward, learning from the past, but not living in it. It means allowing old wounds to truly heal, so new, stronger connections can form in their place. When we let go of old mistakes, we make room for new trust and real, lasting love to bloom. Not celebrating wins. What happens when good things go unnoticed? When a small victory, shared with someone, passes by without a cheer, does that happy feeling shrink, like a balloon losing air? This is not celebrating wins. It's not about big achievements. It's about those quiet moments when someone you care about does well, or something good happens, and you don't truly see it, or cheer them on. It's like gathering tiny, beautiful shells, but never showing them. Humans have always needed their joys acknowledged. Ancient communities celebrated after a successful harvest, bringing people closer. This need for a yes from the world, saying you matter, is deeply human. Imagine you finally understood a tough math problem. You feel a small rush of pride. You tell a friend, hoping for a reaction, but they just glance up, say, "Oh cool," and look back down. That little burst of pride can deflate. It feels like your effort wasn't seen. The joy gets swallowed by a quiet, empty feeling. It's a tiny thread of connection that dims when we miss chances to celebrate these small victories. Those little lights of joy in a relationship start to dim. Love needs to be seen and acknowledged, like a plant needs sunlight. It's in shared smiles, quiet praise, and high fives that love finds its everyday strength. By ignoring these moments, we miss watering the connection. Over time, the garden of love can feel less bright, less alive. It leaves us feeling unseen, and that is a lonely feeling. Shutting down when upset. Have you ever felt so much inside? Sadness, anger, confusion that all you wanted to do was just stop, just go quiet, pull away, and not say another word. This feeling, this act of going completely silent and unresponsive when things get hard, that's shutting down. It's like a circuit breaker tripping inside us. When our feelings overload, our minds try to protect us. It's a very old, deep part of our brain, like an ancient defense. Think about it. Sometimes when animals are scared, they don't fight or run. They freeze. They pretend to be still, hoping the danger will pass. For us, it's not always about a big scary monster. It's often about big, scary feelings in a conversation. Imagine a tiny snail. When it feels threatened, what does it do? It pulls itself entirely into its shell. It's not trying to be rude or ignore you. It's just trying to be safe. It feels too exposed, too vulnerable. That's a lot like what happens when a person shuts down. They aren't trying to be mean. They just feel overwhelmed, trying to protect their softest parts. But here's the thing about relationships. When one person pulls into their shell, the other person often feels shut out, confused, or even rejected. The silence, for them, can be painful. It can make them feel like they don't matter, or that you don't care. So, while shutting down is a natural instinct in relationships, it can build walls. The way forward isn't to never feel overwhelmed, because that's human. It's about learning small ways to signal what you need, even when you want to disappear. Maybe a quiet word, "I need a minute," or "I just need to be quiet for a bit." It's a step towards not leaving someone completely in the dark, even when your own light feels like it's gone out. Understanding this helps us not just protect ourselves, but also gently stay connected to those we care about. Refusing to compromise. Have you ever wondered what happens when two paths meet and neither is willing to bend? Here's the thing. In the quiet spaces of our hearts, love often asks us to find a middle ground. But when we refuse to compromise, It's like building walls where bridges should be. It means seeing only your own truth, your own wants, holding onto them with a stubborn grip. This isn't about being strong, it's about being stuck. For a long time, wise people have talked about balance. Think of the ancient idea of harmony, where different parts work together, or the concept of give and take, which isn't just a saying, it's a deep truth about how things grow. It's like a conversation where both voices need to be heard. Often, a new, better idea comes from two minds meeting. When we insist on my way, we shut down that chance. We stop listening for the shared path. Imagine two gears in a clock. For the clock to work, those gears must fit and turn together. Each one adjusts to the other's movement. If one gear insists on spinning its own way, ignoring the teeth of the other, the whole clock stops. Nothing happens. In a friendship, it's like when you and a friend both want to play different games, and neither will try the others. So, you end up playing nothing, just sitting there, maybe a little disappointed. And that's why it matters so much. Love isn't about winning an argument or proving you're right. It's about weaving two lives together. When we refuse to bend, even a little, the threads of connection can break. It leaves behind a quiet echo of what could have been. It's a feeling of loneliness, even when someone is right there beside you. It's a silent sadness, a path not taken, because no one would take the first step towards the middle. Always being busy, have you ever felt like life is just a blurry rush, one thing after another, with no real breaks? It's like we're constantly running, always doing, always checking off a list. And sometimes, without even meaning to, this constant motion can push away the very people who matter most. We get so caught up in being busy that we forget how to simply be with someone, to truly see them, to hear their quiet thoughts, to share a moment without a to-do list whispering. Think about it. Long ago, people's lives moved at a different pace. They might have spent hours just watching the stars, or talking around a fire, letting time unspool slowly. Ancient thinkers even spoke about leisure, not just lazy time, but time for deep thought, for quiet reflection, for connecting deeply with others. In our world today, we're told to do more, achieve more, to fill every second. But here's the thing, always doing can mean we stop truly seeing and feeling the world and its people. Imagine a beautiful lamp. It needs electricity to shine, right? But if you keep plugging in more and more things to the same outlet, your phone, a TV, a video game console, a hairdryer, all at once, the circuit might get overloaded. It can trip the breaker, and suddenly, the lamp goes dark. Our relationships are a bit like that lamp. They need a steady flow of our attention and time. If we overload our lives with endless tasks, there's not enough energy left for the quiet connection, the listening, the just being together, that makes love grow strong and bright. Love isn't usually built in grand, busy moments, but in the small, open spaces we create for each other. It's found in the quiet pauses, in shared silences, in moments when we choose presence over productivity. Choosing to slow down, even for a little while, isn't lost time. It's time invested, softly and deeply, in the most important connections we have. It's remembering that sometimes the most important thing to do for love is simply be present, be still. Forgetting important dates. Have you ever stopped to think about how much we rely on dates? Not just for school assignments or the next holiday, but in our closest relationships. Here's the thing, sometimes we forget the dates that truly matter to someone we care about. Maybe it's a birthday, an anniversary, or even the day you first met. And while it might seem like a small thing, just a number on a calendar, it can actually chip away at the bond you share. Think about it. When you forget a special date, it's not just the date that's forgotten. It's the memory tied to it, the feeling of that moment, the effort someone put in, or the shared history. Humans have always marked time. Since ancient days, they celebrated the longest day of the year, the harvest, the turning seasons. Why? Because these dates were important. They were reminders of growth, of survival, of shared life. Remembering these dates was a way of saying, this matters, you matter, our journey matters. Imagine your brain like a library. Every memory is a book. When a date is important, it's like that book has a special, shiny bookmark on its page. It's easy to find, but when we don't put a bookmark there, when we don't make an effort to remember, that book just gets lost in the shelves. It signals to our minds, and to the other person, that perhaps this story isn't as important. So, when a birthday passes unacknowledged, or a special anniversary slips by, it can feel like a whisper that says, "I wasn't thinking of you." It's not about blame, but about the quiet impact. It's a chance for reflection. Could we have shown more care? Could we have remembered to mark that page in our shared story? It reminds us that love asks us to be present, to value the moments, and to remember the beautiful dates we create. Each one is a precious star in the night sky of our connection. Letting friends run the show. Have you ever thought about who truly guides the deepest connections in your life? Sometimes, without even realizing it, we let the voices of our friends become louder than our own hearts. This can happen especially when it comes to someone we care deeply about, like a partner or a very close friend. It's not that our friends mean to harm us. Often, they just want what they think is best. But when we allow their opinions, their likes and dislikes to shape our own relationships, we start to lose our way. We might stop trusting our own feelings. We might even begin to see our loved one through someone else's eyes, not our own. For a long time, thinkers have explored the idea of knowing yourself. They believed that our most important decisions, especially about our hearts, should come from a quiet place inside us. It's like having an inner compass. If you keep turning to external maps handed to you by everyone else, you might never learn to read your own. Imagine you are trying to bake a special cake, a recipe that means a lot to you. You have all the ingredients, your own way of mixing them, but then all your friends gather around. One says, "Add more sugar." Another insists, "No, less." Someone else says, "Use a different flavor." If you tried to follow every single instruction from every friend, your unique cake might become a confused mess. It wouldn't taste like your original idea, and it might not even hold together. It's the same with love. If friends constantly tell you how you should feel, or what problems you should have, or how to fix things, you risk losing the special, delicate balance you share with that person. Love needs its own gentle space to grow, watered by the two people in it. It needs its own truth. When we let too many outside voices become the architects of our hearts, we risk silencing our own true feelings. We might lose the quiet, unique song that only our own heart can sing with another. Trust that song, not standing up for them. Have you ever felt alone, even when someone you cared about was right there? It's a strange, quiet pain, isn't it? This is about a habit that slowly eats away at love, not standing up for someone when they need you most. It's when a friend or loved one is being hurt or judged unfairly, and you stay silent. You don't speak up. You don't offer protection. It's not about big fights, but those small moments when support truly matters. Think way back to ancient times, or even just tribes and close communities. One of the strongest human needs has always been belonging, and knowing someone has your back. People felt safe and strong because they knew their family and friends would defend them. This idea of loyalty, of protecting your own, is built deep into us. It's a silent promise we make just by caring for someone. When that promise isn't kept, it feels like the ground beneath you shifts. Here's how it works. Imagine your best friend is unfairly blamed for something at school. Maybe someone spreads a rumor, or a teacher misunderstands. You know the truth. You saw what happened. But when everyone is talking, and your friend looks hurt, you say nothing. You just look away. Or maybe you even laugh a little to fit in. In that moment, your friend isn't just dealing with the blame. They're also dealing with your silence. It's like a plant needing sunlight, but getting shadows from the very people who should be its light. That plant might survive, but it won't truly flourish. Love needs a shield, a quiet, strong sense of knowing someone is on your side. When you don't stand up for someone, it doesn't just hurt them then. It teaches their heart they are alone, even with you there. And that's why it matters, because love, true love, whispers a promise of unwavering support, a promise that slowly fades when silence takes its place. Thinking you know best. Have you ever been so sure you knew something, so absolutely certain? We all feel that way sometimes. But here's the thing. In relationships, thinking we know best can be a quiet storm, slowly washing away connection. It's when we stop truly hearing the other person. We assume we already know what they're thinking, or what they need, or what's good for them. It's like we have all the answers, and their ideas just don't fit into our perfect picture. This habit isn't about being mean. It's often just being stuck inside our own heads, convinced our way is the only way, and that's why it matters. For thousands of years, wise people have talked about this. Thinkers like Socrates, from ancient Greece, famously said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." He wasn't saying we're dumb. He meant real. Understanding starts when we admit there's so much we don't know. It's about staying curious, not closed off. It's about being open to learning, even from someone else's quiet words. Imagine you're trying to put together a tricky puzzle. You have a picture in your mind, but if you only force pieces where you think they belong, without looking at their true shapes, the puzzle won't come together. Each person is a unique piece, with their own feelings, their own view. If we only see our own piece, we miss the whole beautiful picture we could build together. Listening is like turning the piece, overseeing its true shape. When we always think we know best, we build walls instead of bridges. We miss out on the rich, unexpected gifts that come from truly listening, from letting someone else show us their world. Real love grows in the space where we are humble enough to learn, and brave enough to admit we don't have all the answers. It's a gentle dance of two people, each willing to be taught, each willing to see through the other's eyes. That's a kind of wisdom that truly shines. Making decisions alone. Have you ever made a big decision without telling anyone, just because it felt easier? Or maybe you felt it was only your business. Here's the thing about love, and friendship, and any close bond. It's built on two people, sharing a path. When we decide things alone, especially big things that affect both people, it's like we're walking ahead without holding the other person's hand. It can feel like being left behind. Over time, these solo choices can build walls, brick by lonely brick, between two hearts that once beat so close. Think about ancient stories, or even the idea of a family. For a long, long time, people understood that surviving, and even just living happily, meant doing things together. Philosophers, people who thought deeply about life, often talked about how we are stronger and truly whole when we connect. They believed true strength wasn't just found in one person, but in the harmony of many. It's like an old wisdom whispering that we're designed for connection, not solo journeys. Imagine a beautiful tree. Its strength isn't just in one branch, but in all of them growing together, sharing sunlight and nutrients. If one branch decided to suddenly grow off in a totally different direction, not caring about the trunk or the other branches, it might break, or the tree could become unbalanced. It's similar with our brains. Actually, our minds naturally seek connection. Psychologists might say that when we feel connected, our brains actually release chemicals that make us feel safe and happy. Making choices alone, without talking it through, can sometimes signal to our brains that we're isolated, even when we're not truly alone. So, what does this mean? It means remembering that love isn't just about me or you, but about us. It's about respecting the shared path. Each choice we make, big or small, holds a tiny piece of the future. When we choose together, we are not just deciding, we are weaving our lives closer, thread by beautiful thread. It creates a stronger, softer fabric for both hearts to rest upon. It's a quiet promise that we are truly in this together, and that makes love truly last. Not asking for help. Have you ever felt like you had to carry something all by yourself? Maybe a heavy backpack of worries, or a secret struggle. It's a quiet feeling, isn't it? Like trying to hold a conversation in your head, never speaking. A sound. This is not asking for help, and it's a habit that can slowly, silently, wear away at the good things in our relationships. Here's the thing, when we don't ask for help, we build invisible walls. We might think we're being strong, or independent. Sometimes, people in history, even leaders, admired the idea of standing alone, never needing a hand. But that kind of strength can be a lonely one. Think about the ancient Greek philosopher, Aristotle. He believed humans are social. We're wired to connect, not to live like islands. Imagine trying to build a really tall tower, a beautiful one, using only tiny bricks in your two hands. It would be slow, hard, and probably fall. But if you had friends, each with their own bricks, working together, the tower would rise faster, stronger, and stand tall. That's a bit like life. We all have bricks, and sometimes, those bricks are heavy, like sadness or confusion. When we keep them to ourselves, we get tired. We might even push away the very people who want to help, because they don't know what's going on. Not asking for help means we're denying others the chance to show they care. It's like closing a door on kindness. When we share our burdens, even small ones, we aren't showing weakness. Instead, we show a different, deeper kind of strength. The strength to be vulnerable, to trust, and to let connection blossom. It reminds us that love often grows in the shared moments, the ones where we lean in, listen, and simply say, "I need you." And that's a beautiful thing. Refusing help offered. Have you ever stopped to think about why we sometimes push away a hand that's offered to us? It's a strange habit, isn't it? Someone sees you struggling, maybe with a heavy backpack or a tricky math problem, and they genuinely offer to help. But sometimes, a quiet voice inside tells us to say, "No thanks, I've got it." Even when we clearly don't. In relationships, especially when we talk about love, refusing help can feel like building an invisible wall. It's not about being strong or independent. It's often about something else, maybe pride or a fear of looking vulnerable. When we consistently turn down a kind offer, we might unknowingly be telling the other person, "I don't need you," or "I don't trust you with my struggles." That can hurt, even if it's not what we mean. Think about how communities used to work long ago. People depended on each other for everything. If a barn needed building, everyone showed up. If someone was sick, neighbors brought food. There was a quiet understanding that needing help wasn't a flaw. It was just part of being human. It was a way to show connection and care. In many old stories, even the toughest heroes had loyal friends who helped them through impossible quests. They knew they couldn't do it all alone. Imagine you're trying to put together a really complicated puzzle. You're frustrated, staring at a pile of pieces that just won't fit. A friend walks by and offers to look with you, maybe find a corner piece. If you snap, "No, I can do it myself," you might eventually finish, but it'll take longer, and you missed a chance to share the challenge. You also pushed away their kind gesture. Here's the thing about love, it's a two-way street. It's about giving, yes, but it's also deeply about allowing yourself to receive. When we let someone help us, even with something small, we're actually showing them trust. We're saying, "I value your care." It builds a bridge between hearts instead of a wall. It reminds us that leaning on each other isn't a weakness, but a quiet, powerful act of connection. It makes the bond stronger, not weaker. The constant critic. Have you ever thought about how words can feel? Even the quiet ones. It's not always about big shouts or angry names. Sometimes, it's the steady whisper of a small flaw, the gentle nudge that something isn't quite right. Here's the thing, this constant pointing out of small things, this habit of being a constant critic, can really chip away at someone. Imagine a relationship where one person often finds fault. Maybe it's how you organize your backpack, or the way you eat, or a tiny mistake in a drawing. It's not a huge complaint, but it happens again and again. These small remarks, over time, add up. They can make the other person feel like they are never good enough. Long ago, thinkers understood the power of words. They knew words weren't just sounds. They shaped our world, our thoughts, and how we felt. They knew that what we say can build up or break down, not just things, but spirits. Think about how water can shape a stone. A single drop hitting a rock won't do much. But if that same drop keeps hitting the same spot over and over, for years, eventually, that tiny drop will wear a hollow into the hardest stone. It's a slow process, not dramatic, but powerful. That's a bit like constant criticism. Each comment might seem small, but the endless drip, drip, drip wears down confidence and trust. It makes a person pull back, feel less brave. So, here's what happens. When someone is always being criticized, they start to walk on eggshells. They might stop trying new things, afraid of making another mistake that will be pointed out. The space between two people, which should feel safe and warm, becomes chilly and uncertain. True love, real friendship, needs room to breathe and grow, free from the steady wearing down of judgment. It asks for kindness, for seeing the good, and for letting small imperfections simply be. Using sarcasm like a shield. Have you ever noticed how some words can feel like a shield, something we hide behind? Sarcasm is often like that. It's when you say something that sounds one way, but you really mean the opposite. You might say, "Oh, that was just brilliant," when someone has done something really silly, and sometimes we use it to protect ourselves, like a secret armor for our feelings. The word sarcasm actually comes from a very old Greek word. It means to tear flesh or to bite. Think about that for a moment. It shows how sharp and cutting sarcasm can be, even when it's used to keep someone safe. It's a way to keep people from getting too close, or from seeing that we might be feeling hurt, or embarrassed, or even scared. Imagine a porcupine. When it feels scared or threatened, It sticks out, its sharp quills. Those quills aren't meant to hurt just for fun. They're a defense. Sarcasm can be like those quills for us. When we feel vulnerable, or like someone might make fun of us, or if we're feeling a bit sad or angry but don't want to show it, we might use sarcasm. It's a quick way to put up a wall, to make a joke out of something serious, or to seem tough when we feel soft inside. But here's the thing about shields. While a shield protects you, it also keeps others at a distance. If you always speak with sarcasm, people might not see the real you, or understand what you truly feel. It can stop real conversations from happening, because the shield is always up. Maybe, instead of building walls with our words, we can learn to be brave enough to show a little bit of what's inside, even when it feels scary. Because true connections don't grow behind a shield of sharp words. They grow in open, honest spaces, where we feel safe enough to put our shields down. The cold shoulder. Have you ever walked into a room, expecting a friendly greeting, and instead felt a sudden chill, like someone you know is acting as if you aren't even there? That quiet freeze is often called the cold shoulder. It's a habit, where someone stops talking to you, ignores your messages, or avoids eye contact. It's a way to show they're upset or annoyed, without using any words at all. It leaves you feeling confused and alone. Here's the thing. This isn't a new idea. The phrase cold shoulder might come from an older custom. Imagine long ago, when visitors would come to a home. If a guest was truly welcome, they'd get a warm, grand meal. But if they weren't so welcome, they might be offered something less inviting, like a cold shoulder of mutton. It was a subtle way to say, it's time for you to go. This shows how, even then, withholding warmth or kindness sent a quiet message, and that's why it matters today. When someone gives you the cold shoulder, it's like they've built an invisible wall. Imagine trying to talk to someone through thick glass. You can see them, but your words can't reach, and theirs can't reach you. There's no sound, no way to connect. It's like trying to play catch, but the other person just stands there, refusing to throw the ball back. They aren't saying no, but their actions make it clear. This silent treatment pushes people further apart. It stops any chance for clear conversation, for understanding what might be bothering someone. Connections need open lines. When one person gives the cold shoulder, they close their road, leaving the other standing alone at a dead end. It reminds us that finding the courage to speak honestly, gently, is always better than letting silence become a deep, freezing canyon between hearts. Even difficult words are better than the chilling quiet. Not saying I love you enough. Have you thought about the quiet spaces between people? What happens when important words just aren't said? We feel love deeply for others, but sometimes those feelings stay locked inside. That's where trouble starts. Not saying I love you enough. Here's the thing. Love isn't just a feeling, it's an action. It needs to be shown, spoken. Think of a plant. Even with strong roots, it needs sunlight and water. Without that, even the strongest plant droops. I love you is like that water for our connections. It keeps the bond alive. Long ago, thinkers understood this power. They wrote how words build us up. People in ancient times used phrases to show affection. It's a basic human need to be seen, heard, to know you matter. When these words aren't spoken, part of the connection feels missing, like a song without its chorus. Imagine your favorite pet. You love it, but if you never pet it, or speak kindly, does that love truly show? Unspoken feelings can feel dusty, forgotten. The other person might quietly wonder if the love is still there. So, here's what I found. Words aren't just sounds. They are small gifts. They remind us we are connected, valued, not alone. When we speak our love, we create something. We build a warmer, stronger space, filled with light, not silent questions. Love, like any beautiful thing, needs care and open sharing. Believing rumors. Isli, have you ever stopped to wonder how a whispered story can become a fact in so many minds, almost overnight? It's a curious thing, how easily we can let a rumor take root in our thoughts, especially when it's about someone we know. A rumor is just a story, passed from person to person, without anyone really checking if it's true. It's like a tiny seed blown by the wind. It lands somewhere, and if we're not careful, it can start to grow into a tangled weed of mistrust. For thousands of years, people have warned about the power of unverified words. Ancient thinkers, long before our time, understood that words could build bridges or tear them down. They knew that truth was a precious thing, often hidden, and that Believing something without real proof was like building a house on sand. It might look solid for a moment, but it can crumble easily. They suggested we question what we hear, not just accept it. Imagine a simple science experiment. You're told a certain plant needs a specific kind of light to grow. But instead of testing it yourself, you just believe what someone says. What if they were wrong? What if the plant actually thrives in shade? Our relationships are a bit like that plant. When a friend tells you something negative about another friend, it's easy to let that story color how you see them. You might start acting differently, colder, without even realizing why. You're reacting to a shadow, not the person themselves. It's like seeing a scary shape in the dark and thinking it's a monster, when it's just a coat on a chair. The truth, when it comes to people, usually lives in direct conversations, in gentle questions, in patience, choosing to pause, to breathe, and to seek understanding instead of jumping to conclusions. That's a quiet strength. It protects not only the other person, but also the peace within your own heart. It's how we keep the real, good connections alive, by watering them with truth, not rumors. Being fake nice. Have you ever wondered why some kindness feels empty, like a beautifully wrapped gift with nothing inside? That's fake niceness. It's when someone acts kind, but their true feelings don't match their words. They might smile wide and say sweet things, but inside, they might feel annoyed or even think unkind thoughts. It's like wearing a polite mask, hiding your real self. This idea of real versus fake has been discussed for ages. Wise people, even in ancient Greece, understood how important it was to be true. They believed pretending, even politely, built a wall between people. It stops real connections. Think of an actor. They can wear a costume and play a king, but they're still just a person in a costume. In life, we want the real person. Here's an example you might see daily. Imagine someone in class who always agrees with the group, even if you know they have another opinion. They might laugh at jokes they don't find funny, or compliment an outfit they secretly dislike, just to fit in. On the surface, it looks like they're nice and getting along. But here's the thing. Soon, you feel you don't really know them. You can't trust what they say because it changes based on who they're with. It's like a phone with a great screen but a dead battery. It looks good, but it can't connect. And that's why it matters in relationships. When niceness isn't real, it builds walls, not bridges. It teaches us to doubt what people say, even the good. True connection grows from honesty, even when messy. It's better to be real and sometimes disagree than to be fake and never truly connect. Real love, real friendship, needs real people, not just polite masks. Pretending not to care. Have you ever felt a strong pang of something, maybe hurt or disappointment, but then quickly pushed it down? You might even say, "It's fine, I don't care," when deep down, you really do. Here's the thing. This habit of pretending not to care can build invisible walls around our hearts. It's like wearing a mask, not just for others, but sometimes even for ourselves. We put on a brave face, a cool exterior, hoping to protect ourselves from feeling pain or looking weak. Think about it like this. For a long time, in old stories, and even in some philosophies, people believed it was best to show no emotion at all. They thought showing feelings made you vulnerable, easy to hurt. It was seen as strength to be unmoving, like a stone statue. But here's what I found. True strength isn't about hiding. It's about being honest with what's inside. Imagine you're trying to grow a beautiful, delicate flower. It needs sunlight, water, and fresh air to really bloom. Now, imagine putting that flower in a dark, sealed box. It might survive for a little while, but it won't truly flourish, will it? Our feelings are a bit like that flower. When we pretend not to care, when we seal away our true emotions, we prevent real connection from reaching us. A friend might try to comfort you, but if you're acting like nothing bothers you, they can't actually help. They can't see the real you, because you've hidden it away, and that's why it matters. When we constantly act like nothing affects us, we create a distance. Others might stop trying to understand or connect, because it feels like there's no way in. Real love, real friendship, needs honesty to grow. It needs you to be open, even when it feels a little scary. So, maybe the quiet courage isn't in pretending you don't care, but in gently, bravely, allowing yourself to feel what's true. Ghosting conversations. Have you ever found yourself waiting for a message, a call, a simple word, only to get nothing, just silence? What happens when someone you've been connecting with suddenly vanishes? like a whisper carried away by the wind. This is what we call ghosting. It's when someone ends all communication without a warning, without an explanation. They simply disappear from your life, leaving you in the quiet aftermath, wondering what happened. It feels like a story abruptly cut off, with the end in sight. Think about it. For a very long time, humans have needed closure. Even in the oldest stories, if someone left, there was usually a reason, a goodbye, a note left behind. Our hearts naturally seek understanding. When a connection just stops, it leaves an empty space in your mind, a sort of echo where words should have been. It's like part of your own personal story is suddenly left blank, and you don't know why. Imagine you're building a tower of blocks with a friend. You're putting them up together, talking and laughing. Then, without a word, your friend just stands up and walks away. They don't say, "I'm done," or "I have to go." They just leave. You're left there, holding a block, looking at the half-built tower, unsure if you should keep building or just knock it all down. Ghosting leaves us with questions that hang like mist in the air, unanswered and heavy. It can make us feel unseen, or wonder if our feelings didn't matter at all. But here's the thing about such silence. It often speaks more about the person who left than about the person left behind. It takes courage to say goodbye, even when it's hard or uncomfortable. And while being ghosted can sting, remember that you deserve clear endings. Every ending, even one left unsaid, quietly teaches us about our own strength and about the peace that comes from truly understanding our own worth, even when others don't give us that understanding. Avoiding tough talks. Have you ever felt a small knot in your stomach, knowing you needed to say something important, but your words just stayed hidden? It's like there's a quiet whisper inside, telling you to speak up, but a louder voice says, "Not now." It's too hard. This feeling, this choice to keep quiet, is often what we mean by avoiding tough talks. It's when we turn away from conversations that feel uncomfortable or scary, even when those talks are exactly what a connection needs to stay healthy. For centuries, people have understood that pretending problems don't exist doesn't make them vanish. Ancient thinkers, watching the world, saw that what was left unsaid often festered, like a shadow growing longer in the twilight. They knew that facing the truth, even a hard truth, was like bringing light into a dark room. It might show you things you'd rather not see, but it also allows you to finally deal with them. Think about a tiny pebble that finds its way into your shoe. At first it's just a little annoyance. You can probably keep walking trying to ignore it, telling yourself it's not that bad. But as you continue, that small pebble doesn't disappear. It digs in. It rubs. Every step becomes more uncomfortable, maybe even painful. Eventually, it can cause a real sore, making it impossible to walk with ease. The pebble is still there, and the problem has only grown bigger because it was ignored. Tough conversations are a bit like that pebble. If we leave them trapped inside, they don't just go away. They rub against our peace, against the other person's feelings, slowly hurting the bond we share. Choosing to open up, to speak kindly but honestly, even when your voice trembles, is like taking off your shoe and gently removing that pebble. It might feel a little awkward at first, a brief chill, but then there's a lightness. It allows for healing and for moving forward, truly together, without that nagging pain. This brave step isn't just about fixing a problem. It's about building trust, piece by honest piece. Not showing appreciation. Have you ever given someone a gift, or helped them with something hard, and they just didn't say anything? Not a thanks, not even a smile. That quiet moment, when your effort isn't seen, can feel like a small bruise on the heart. This is what not showing appreciation can do to love. It's not about throwing big parties or making grand, loud gestures. It's about something much softer, yet just as vital, truly noticing the everyday kindnesses, the quiet efforts, the countless small ways someone shows they care. It's the silent help with homework, the favorite snack left out, the listening ear when you're sad. When these small acts go unacknowledged, a silent message is sent. You are invisible. Think about it. For thousands of years, humans have understood the quiet power of thanks. Ancient stories often speak of heroes being honored, or people making offerings to show gratitude. It's a very old, very human need to feel recognized, to know that what you do matters. Philosophers, people who think deeply about life, have long pointed out that gratitude isn't just good manners. It's a profound way to truly see another person and value their very presence in your world. It connects us deeply. Imagine a tiny seed, full of life, ready to grow into a beautiful flower. It has all the potential for vibrant petals and sweet scents, but it needs sunlight, water, and good soil to truly bloom. Now, imagine that same seed planted in dark, dry earth. No matter how much life is inside it, without those nurturing elements, it will wither. In our relationships, showing appreciation is exactly like the sun and water for that seed. When someone consistently feels their efforts are ignored, it's like their inner plant isn't getting any light. Slowly, softly, the desire to put in effort can just fade away. They might still be physically there, but the bloom of their spirit begins to dim, and the connection weakens. So, even a simple thank you for doing that, or I noticed you worked hard on this, can be a powerful ray of light. It's a quiet whisper that truly says, I see you, you matter to me. And that whisper, repeated gently over time, builds a strong, warm space where love can truly breathe and flourish. It helps keep the garden of connection alive and vibrant, one ray of sunshine at a time. Leaving things unsaid, have you ever felt a small word bubbling up inside you, a feeling you knew you should share, but then you swallowed it back down? It's like planting a tiny seed of quiet. At first it seems harmless, just a small silence, but these seeds can grow into thorny bushes, creating distance between people, even when they're standing right next to each other. This quiet habit can weave an invisible barrier. Think of it like a whisper in a large, empty room. If you don't speak up, your words just fade away, unheard. But sometimes, those unspoken words don't really disappear. They just settle into the air, making it heavy. For a very long time, people across history have known that what we don't say can sometimes matter more than what we do. Ancient thinkers understood that secrets, big or small, can weigh on the heart. They taught that true connection needs open voices, even if those voices sometimes tremble a little. They knew silence could build walls. Imagine you have a small crack in a beautiful vase. If you don't talk about it, don't try to fix it or understand why it's there, that tiny crack can slowly spread. Soon, the vase might break completely. Our relationships are a lot like that vase. A small annoyance, a misunderstanding, a quiet hurt. If we leave these things unsaid, they don't just vanish. They stay, like that growing crack, slowly pushing people apart. It's like trying to navigate a dark room without turning on the light. You bump into things, you feel lost. Here's the thing, those words we hold back, those feelings we hide, they build a silent wall, brick by quiet brick. And before you know it, that wall can become so tall, you can barely see the person on the other side. So, think about the brave kindness of speaking your truth, even in a whisper. It's how we keep the melody of our connections clear and strong, making sure our shared song sounds complete and true. It's how love finds its voice, changing for someone else. Have you ever felt like you needed to become different, just to be liked or loved? Like a part of you had to change shape, just to fit into another person's world. This feeling, this idea of changing who you truly are, for someone else, is a tricky path. It's not about growing or learning new things, which we all do. It's about letting go of your own core, your true self, because you think that person won't accept the real you. It's like dimming your own light so someone else feels brighter. Ancient thinkers, like the Stoics, often talked about living in agreement with your own nature. They believed true peace came from understanding who you are and staying true to that, not pretending, not performing. This is an old idea, this struggle between our true self and what others might want us to be. They knew that trying to be someone you're not is tiring. It doesn't lead to real happiness or strong connections. Imagine a maple tree. It grows its own leaves, offers its own shade. It doesn't try to grow oranges because a gardener wishes it were an orange tree. If it tried, it would get sick. It wouldn't be a good maple, and it wouldn't be a good orange tree either. In the same way, when you try to force yourself to be someone you're not, maybe you pretend to like a hobby you dislike, or hide an opinion important to you, you stop being you. The person who cares for you ends up loving a version of you that isn't quite real. And here's the thing, a love built on a version of you that isn't real can feel very lonely. It's like no one truly sees you. The most beautiful connections happen when two people can be their whole, true selves together. It lets them truly know and appreciate each other. Real love isn't about fitting a mold. It's about finding someone who loves the unique shape you already are. Making them guess. Have you ever held back your real thoughts, or hidden how you truly felt, hoping it would make someone more interested in you. Like maybe, if they had to guess what was on your mind, they'd want to figure you out even more. This idea, making them guess, happens when we don't share what's really going on inside us, or don't show our true selves. Believing it creates a kind of captivating mystery. But here's the thing, while a little mystery can be exciting in a fictional story, in real friendships and true love, it often becomes a problem. Think about characters in old legends, or even some modern movies. Sometimes, a hero or heroine keeps a big secret, and everyone around them tries to unravel it. It feels dramatic, right? But imagine living that way every single day, always wondering, always guessing what someone means or truly feels. The ancient Greek thinkers, who thought a lot about life, knew that real connection came from knowing each other, not from constant hidden meanings. It's kind of like trying to put together a puzzle when someone has secretly hidden half the pieces. You can look at the box, you can try to imagine what the full picture is, but you'll never truly see it unless all the pieces are laid out. Your relationship, your closeness with another person, is like that puzzle. When you hold back parts of yourself, or make others guess your feelings and needs, you're essentially hiding crucial parts of the picture. This can gently, slowly, push people away, because when someone truly cares about you, they want to understand you deeply. They want to know your joys, your quiet worries, what makes you laugh, what makes you pause. They don't want to constantly play a guessing game, trying to read your mind. True connection grows from open doors, where feelings and thoughts can walk freely, not from locked ones where only hints are given. It's about letting someone see your full, beautiful picture. When you are real and clear, you invite a love to grow that feels safe, understood, and truly seen. The unspoken rules. There are rules we all know about, the ones written down, printed in books, displayed on signs, and taught in classrooms. But beneath those visible codes exists another layer, a quieter set of expectations that govern nearly everything we do. The unspoken rules. These are not announced or explained directly, yet they shape how people move, speak, and even think in daily life. They tell us when to smile, when to stay silent, how close to stand next to someone, or when it's our turn to talk. They influence how we dress, what we share, what we hide, and even the kind of dreams we are allowed to chase. Nobody hands us a guidebook for them, yet from childhood we learn them through glances, corrections, and the subtle signals of approval or disapproval. They can be powerful tools of belonging, helping groups work together smoothly, without endless explanations. At the same time, they can feel like invisible chains, limiting individuality and reinforcing unfair systems. Think about how people are expected to behave differently at work than at home, or how certain emotions, anger, grief, even joy, are sometimes deemed acceptable only in private. These rules operate everywhere, guiding friendships, family, cultures, and even entire societies. Yet the most striking thing about the unspoken rules is how rarely we stop to question them. We follow them to survive, to fit in, to avoid conflict, or simply because that's how it's always been. Breaking them can make someone seem rebellious, rude, or strange, even when no official rule was ever broken. Understanding these silent codes reveals a truth. Much of human behavior is not shaped by logic alone, but by an invisible agreement to keep playing the same game, even when no one remembers who set the rules in the first place. Acting like a parent, have you ever noticed how sometimes, in a close relationship, one person starts to treat the other like a younger child? They might gently suggest, or even firmly tell, what to wear, who to hang out with, or how to spend their time. It's like one person suddenly takes on the role of the grown-up, and the other feels small, like a kid who needs constant looking after. This isn't always done with bad intentions. Sometimes it comes from a place of wanting to help or protect. But here's the thing. A deep, healthy connection needs to people who stand tall, side by side. For a long time in history, many relationships were built with one person in charge, like a parent figure. But true love, the kind that makes your spirit feel free, grows when both people are seen as equally capable and smart. Think about a powerful oak tree and a young sapling. The oak might want to shade the sapling from too much sun, but if it blocks out all the light, the sapling can't grow strong on its own. It won't learn to reach for the light, to weather the storms. It might even stop growing. In the same way, when someone is constantly told what to do, their own thoughts and feelings can feel less important. It becomes hard for their unique self to blossom. They might start to doubt their own voice, their own choices. This habit can slowly chip away at the trust and respect that hold people together. It's like a quiet whisper that says, "I know better than you do." And over time, that whisper can make the other person feel unseen, unheard, and maybe even a little trapped. Love isn't about one person leading and the other following every step. It's about two individual stars shining brightly next to each other, creating a beautiful constellation together. It's about building a shared path, not one person paving the way for the other. Being a know-it-all, you ever felt a conversation just stop, like a quiet door closing on new ideas? That's what being a know-it-all does in love. It's not about being smart, but acting like you hold the only truth. This habit, slowly, quietly, chips away at love. Imagine two people exploring a new path together. If one says, "I know exactly where we're going, I've seen it all," the adventure stops. The joy of shared discovery fades. This tells the other, your thoughts don't matter as much. Long ago, the wise Socrates said, "The only true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing." He meant the more we learn, the more we realize how much more there is to learn. If you think you know everything, where is the wonder? Where can others share new light? Consider two friends building a puzzle. If one always dismisses the other's suggestions, saying, "My way is best," what happens? The ignored friend stops sharing, their excitement shrinking. The puzzle might get solved, but the shared joy gets damaged. This habit builds a wall. It whispers, "I am full. I don't need your input." Love blooms in open spaces, where hearts are willing to learn and be surprised. When we act like we know it all, we block off curiosity for others. Deep connections come from a quiet, shared understanding. We are all students of life, and of each other. Sometimes, the most loving thing is simply to listen and say, "Tell me more." The need for control. Have you ever really wanted something to go exactly your way? Maybe you planned out a whole day with a friend, and then they wanted to do something different. That little twist in your stomach, that's often a whisper of our need for control. It's this deep, quiet wish inside us for things to be predictable. We want to know what's next. We want to feel safe. Here's the thing. In relationships, this feeling can turn into trying to steer another person. It's like wanting to write their lines in a play that's supposed to be written. We might try to tell them what to do, or how to feel, or even who to be friends with. This doesn't come from a bad place. Usually, it often comes from a place of fear. We worry if we don't control things, something bad will happen, or we won't be okay. Think about it. For a long, long time, people needed to control their world. Early humans had to know where the food was, or how to build a shelter. Control meant survival. And so, that feeling of needing to be in charge got wired into us. Deep down, it feels natural, but our brains still sometimes act like we're in the wilderness. Even when we're just talking to a friend, it's a lot like trying to hold onto water in your hands. If you clench your fists tightly, trying to keep every drop, the water just squirts out between your fingers. But if you hold your hands open, cupped gently, you can hold much more. The more you try to squeeze and force someone to be a certain way, the more they might feel like slipping away. They need their own space to breathe, to be themselves. Just like a plant needs good soil and sunlight, but also room to stretch its roots. So, maybe the trick isn't to control everything. Maybe it's about learning to trust the flow, and to give space for others to just be. Because true connection isn't about holding tight, it's about holding open, not defending them. Have you ever felt a quiet discomfort when someone you care about is being talked about, and not in a good way? Maybe a friend, a family member, or even just someone you respect. And then, silence, your silence. This habit, not defending them, isn't about arguing or fighting for someone every single time. It's about those moments when someone's character or actions are unfairly questioned, and you stand by, saying nothing. Think of it like this. In old stories, knights would stand guard, protecting the reputation of their kings or queens. Their loyalty wasn't just in battle, it was also in how they spoke, or didn't speak, about their leader in the court. Back then, a person's good name was everything. It shaped how others saw them, how they were treated. And to let someone's good name be tarnished without a word was seen as a deep betrayal, a lack of true support. It's similar to how a building needs its pillars. If someone starts saying the pillars are weak, and you, standing right there, say nothing, It's like agreeing. Or, imagine a soccer team. When a player makes a mistake, the best teammates don't join the critics on the sidelines. They might offer a quiet word of support, or simply defend the player's effort when others are being harsh. Your silence, when someone needs you to speak up, can feel like a small crack in the foundation of trust. It whispers to the person you care about that their worth isn't as solid as they thought, or that your loyalty isn't as strong. This habit of letting unkind words hang in the air slowly chips away at the feeling of safety in a relationship. It makes the other person feel a little more alone, a little more exposed. True connection often grows in the soil of shared protection, knowing that someone has your back, even when you're not there to hear it. It reminds us that sometimes the quietest actions, like a silent nod of agreement or a spoken word of truth, can shape the world around us. And sometimes the absence of a word speaks loudest of all. Getting annoyed too easily. Have you ever noticed how tiny things can sometimes feel huge? Like a small drip of water that seems like a flood, or a soft whisper that starts to sound like a shout. It's strange when we start to get annoyed too easily by the people we care about. Maybe it's the way someone breathes, or a small habit they have, like tapping their foot. At first, you might not notice, but soon, these little things can really start to scratch at your patience. Here's the thing about getting annoyed quickly. It's often less about the actual thing happening, and more about what's going on inside us. Ancient Greek thinkers, like the Stoics, understood this. They believed true peace doesn't come from controlling everything around us. That's just not possible. Instead, it comes from learning to control our reactions. They taught we can choose how much power to give outside things. They knew if we let every ripple disturb our inner lake, we'd always be upset. Imagine your mind is like a delicate scale. When things are calm, it takes a big problem to tip it. But when we're stressed, tired, or holding on to feelings, that scale gets super sensitive. Suddenly, even a tiny feather like someone chewing loudly, or a sibling forgetting to close a door can make the scale crash down. It's not the feather's fault, it's the scale's fragile state. This might work for you. When that happens, the annoyance isn't just about the noisy chewing, it's a signal. It's telling you something about your own feelings, about your own needs for quiet or calm, or maybe about a stress you're carrying. So, when those small moments of irritation bubble up, it's an invitation to pause. It asks us to gently look inward, not outward. It reminds us that sometimes the peace we seek isn't found in changing what others do, but in tending to our own inner world, making that scale a little less sensitive, a little more stable. It's about choosing patience, not because the world changes, but because we do. Not being patient. Have you ever felt that restless tug inside? That feeling where you just want something to happen now, instantly. We live in a fast world, where so much is just a click away. But here's the thing about our feelings and our connections with others. They don't work like instant messages. When we rush things in a relationship, when we don't give space for moments to unfold naturally, it's like trying to force a flower to bloom too early. It won't truly flourish. Think about wisdom from long ago. Thoughtful people from different cultures often spoke about patience as a true strength. They observed nature, how a giant oak tree grows from a tiny acorn over many seasons. They understood that anything truly valuable, be it a sturdy bridge or a deep human bond, takes time. It needs gentle, steady care, not a sudden push. This quiet truth about good things taking time echoes through history. Here's an example. Imagine you're baking a cake. You mix the ingredients, put it in the oven, and the recipe says to wait 30 minutes. But what if you keep opening the oven door every 5 minutes, or pull it out early? The cake won't be cooked properly. Our relationships are like that cake. If we constantly demand attention, push for answers, or rush through difficult conversations, we aren't allowing trust and understanding to truly blend. This can make the other person feel pressured or unseen. So, maybe we could try a different way. What if we learned to simply be with quiet moments, to give others, and ourselves, the gentle gift of time? Patience isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing something with a deep sense of trust. It's allowing love, or any true connection, to grow at its own pace, like a river flowing naturally. This is a calm, reflective kind of power, a soft confidence that the best things in life blossom beautifully when they are allowed to breathe. Holding grudges forever. Have you ever felt a hurt so deeply that you just couldn't let it go, no matter what? That's often what holding a grudge feels like. It's when someone does something that makes you angry or sad, and instead of working through it, you hold on to that feeling. You keep it hidden for days, weeks, or even years, like a heavy, secret stone in your heart. This habit, especially in our relationships, can be really damaging, because when we hold grudges against people we care about, a friend, family, or someone important, it builds invisible walls between us. Each time we don't let go, that wall grows a little taller, a little thicker. Soon, you can barely see or feel the other person through it. People have struggled with letting go of anger for a very long time. Thinkers from ancient Greece to wise elders in different cultures have talked about how holding on to bitterness can hurt you more than the person you're angry at. They knew that true strength often comes from deciding not to be weighed down by yesterday's hurts. It's why ideas about forgiveness aren't just about letting others off the hook, but about setting yourself free. Imagine you're on a long journey, and every time someone upsets you and you don't forgive them, you pick up a small, jagged rock and put it into your backpack. At first, one rock isn't much, but if you keep collecting them, never emptying your bag, that backpack becomes incredibly heavy. It starts to slow you down. It makes every step difficult. You might even forget what each rock means, but the weight is always there, pulling you back. This heavy backpack isn't just uncomfortable for you, it makes it hard to walk with others. It fills your mind with old hurts, instead of making space for new, happy memories. It can make you suspicious or unwilling to trust, because a part of you is always focused on past pain. It stops love from flowing freely. Letting go of a grudge doesn't mean you forget what happened or that it was okay. It means you choose to drop that heavy backpack. It means you decide you'd rather walk lighter, with an open heart, ready for what's next, instead of being chained to the past. It's a brave step towards healing, not just for the relationship, but for your own quiet peace inside. Giving up too soon. Have you ever started building something, maybe a cool Lego set, and then gotten stuck? A piece is missing, or the instructions just don't make sense. It's easy to feel frustrated, and sometimes frustration makes us just walk away, leaving it behind. Here's the thing, in our lives, especially with relationships, we often do something similar. We give up too soon. It's like we expect everything to be easy, to bloom right away. But many old stories, from different cultures, talk about patience. Think of a strong tree growing from a tiny seed. Ancient Greek thinkers believed becoming wise wasn't a sudden event. It was a journey, a daily practice of small choices, even when it felt hard or slow. They knew real growth happens quietly, when no one is watching, just by putting in the effort. Imagine planting a sunflower seed. You dig a small hole, place the seed, cover it with soil, water it, give it sunlight. For days, maybe a week, nothing, just dirt. It's easy to think, this isn't working, or this seed must be dead. You might be tempted to dig it up, or stop watering. But underneath, something incredible is happening. Tiny roots reach out, slowly, quietly, anchoring the seed. Then, one day, a small sprout pushes through. It wasn't dead. It was just taking its time, building its foundation, ready to burst forth. Relationships, friendships, even our own dreams, are like that sunflower seed. They need time, care, quiet, patience. It's a gentle reminder that beautiful things in life aren't found in a sudden flash, but in the steady choice to keep tending them, even when the ground looks barren. Sometimes, the deepest connections wait for us to choose not to give up, to trust unseen growth, and believe something truly special is slowly unfurling. Not trying new things together. Have you ever thought about how important newness is? Not just new shoes or a new video game, but new experiences. Think about a relationship, maybe with a close friend or family member. What happens when you always do the same things every single day? It's like a path worn smooth in the grass. At first, it's exciting to walk on, but over time, it becomes just ... ordinary. Not trying new things together, always sticking to what's comfortable and known, can actually wear down the feelings between people. It can make love feel less special, less vibrant. It's not about grand adventures every week, but about a willingness to step off that smooth path, even just a little. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosophers, often talked about how change is a constant part of life. Heraclitus famously said you can never step into the same river twice, because both you and the river are always changing. This idea isn't just about big world stuff, it's true for us too. People change, and relationships need to change with them to stay alive and interesting. If we refuse to explore new parts of ourselves or the world together, we might find we're not growing in the same direction anymore. Think about a garden. If you only ever plant the same type of flower year after year, even if it's a beautiful rose, eventually the garden might start to feel ... expected. But if you try a new seed, a different color, or a new layout, the garden comes alive again. It challenges the soil, introduces new scents, new textures. In a human way, our brains are wired for novelty. When we try something new, even simple things like cooking a new recipe together or exploring a different part of town, our brains release chemicals like dopamine. This makes us feel excited, engaged. It's like a fresh burst of energy that reminds us why we enjoy being with someone. It keeps the connection feeling fresh and interesting. So, here's the thing. Not trying new things isn't about boredom. It's about a quiet, fading, like colors left too long in the sun. It's about losing the chance to see new sides of each other, to discover shared joys you never knew existed. To keep love vibrant, sometimes all it takes is a small step into the unknown, hand in hand, letting curiosity lead the way. It's a gentle reminder that growing together means growing into new things, not just staying still. Letting routine take over. Have you ever noticed how something amazing can slowly become just normal? Like a favorite song you play so often, it just blends into the background. Or a view from your window that once made you stop and stare, but now you barely see it. That's what can happen when routine takes over in our relationships. At first, everything feels new, vibrant, full of wonder. We pay close attention. But as days turn into weeks, and weeks into months, we settle into habits. We start to expect things, the little gestures, the unique qualities of another person. They can fade into the scenery. It's not that we stop caring. It's just that our brains are really good at making things efficient. They learn patterns to save energy. So, the things we see every day, our minds start to process them without much effort. We stop really seeing them. Think about it like this. If you live in a house, you eventually stop noticing the smell of your own home. But if a friend comes over, they might smell it right away. A mix of your laundry soap, your food, your family. To them, it's fresh and clear. For you, it's just the air. In a way, our minds are like that. We get so used to the people we share our lives with that we stop noticing the small, beautiful details that make them unique. We forget to appreciate the quiet kindness or the funny way they tell a story. Long ago, thinkers like the Stoics taught us to appreciate each moment, each person, as if it were the first or the last time. Not to be dramatic, but to remind us how precious and fleeting everything can be. It's a quiet whisper, telling us to open our eyes again, to truly see the person standing right in front of us, not just the comfortable habit. Because when we choose to really look, the wonder isn't gone. It's just been waiting for us to notice it again. The you always or you never game. Have you ever heard someone say, "You always do that," or "You never listen to me"? These words can feel heavy, right? Like a sudden, cold snap on a warm day. This is what we call the you always or you never game. Here's how it works. Instead of talking about one specific thing that happened, these phrases try to paint a whole picture of a person. They make it sound like someone is totally one way, all the time, forever. But think about it. Is anyone always anything? Does anyone never do something? Not really. Life is much more mixed up than that. These words shut down conversation. Even long ago, people knew the world isn't simply black or white. We humans often like to put things in neat boxes. It's easier sometimes to say always or never than to really look closely at the messy truth. But real understanding asks us to see all the shades of gray. These big, sweeping words try to stop all change, all growth. They try to freeze a moment and make it seem like the whole story. Imagine you're trying really hard to learn a new skill. Like playing guitar, you hit a wrong note just once, and someone says, "You never get it right." But that's not fair, is it? You've practiced for hours. You've hit plenty of right notes. That single word, never, tries to erase all your effort, all your progress. It tries to make one small mistake stand in for your entire journey. So, here's the thing. When we use words like always or never, we forget that people are living, changing beings. We forget that they learn and grow. We accidentally erase all the other times, all the good efforts, and all the chances for tomorrow. It closes the door on real talk and understanding. Instead, we can choose to speak about specific moments. We can remember that everyone is a mix of many things, and that every day holds a new chance to be different. This helps us see the whole, kind person, not just a single action. Losing your own identity. Have you ever felt like a part of you was slowly fading away, like a color that gets washed out? It's a quiet change, one that often happens when we become really close to someone. We start to blend, to think of ourselves less as I and more as we. This isn't always bad, but sometimes, in our effort to be connected, we can accidentally start losing our own identity. Think about it. Who were you before this relationship? What did you love to do on your own? What unique thoughts and dreams were only yours? Losing your identity means letting these personal parts of you shrink or disappear, replacing them with what the other person wants, or what you think they want. It's like a stream forgetting its own path, because it's trying too hard to follow another river. Long ago, even ancient thinkers knew the importance of knowing thyself. They believed understanding who you are truly was the first step to a good life. It wasn't about being selfish. It was about being a complete person. When you lose your own core, your own unique self, you don't just disappear. You become less of what you could be, and that's a hard truth. Imagine a beautiful tree. It needs its own roots deep in the earth, its own leaves reaching for the sun. If it tries too hard to become like the tree next to it, maybe by bending too much or giving up its own branches, it won't be strong. It might even wither. You are like that tree. You need your own space, your own sunshine, your own deep roots, to stay strong and grow. Your unique hobbies, your quiet thoughts, even your silly quirks, these are your branches and roots. A healthy relationship isn't about two people becoming one blurry shape. It's about two distinct, whole people choosing to stand together, side by side. Each still has their own clear outline, their own vibrant color. When you know who you are and hold on to that, you bring your fullest self into any connection. And that's what true love deserves, the whole, real you, not respecting their privacy. Have you ever felt like a quiet corner of your mind, a secret garden, was suddenly opened by someone else? That feeling, where someone looks through your texts without asking, or reads your journal, or just pushes into your personal space when you need to be alone. That's what we mean by not respecting privacy. It's about ignoring the invisible line around another person. Everyone has this line. It's their own private space, their thoughts, their feelings, things they aren't ready to share or don't want to share at all. Think about how old the idea of a home is. For thousands of years, humans built shelters, then houses, partly to have a place where they could be truly themselves, safe from the outside world. It wasn't just about protection from rain or animals. It was about having a place that was theirs. This feeling of needing a private space isn't new. Philosophers, even ancient ones, talked about how important it is for a person to have their own thoughts, their own conscience, that nobody else can truly see unless invited. It's like your mind is your house, and you get to decide who gets a key. Imagine you've been working on a really cool art project for school. You haven't shown it to anyone yet because it's not finished, or maybe it's super personal. You're keeping it under wraps. Then, someone walks into your room, finds it, and starts sharing pictures of it with everyone before you're ready. How would that feel? Probably a bit like a punch to the stomach, right? That's what it feels like when someone ignores your personal boundaries, your private thoughts or things. It can make you feel exposed and unsafe. Here's the thing. Trust is built on respect. When you show someone that you value their private space, their quiet thoughts, their personal things, you're telling them that you value them. It builds a kind of gentle trust, like a soft, sturdy bridge between two people. And when that trust is there, love has a safe place to grow, like a flower in a well-tended garden, rather than being stomped on before it even has a chance. Spreading their secrets. Have you ever whispered a secret to someone? A thought so personal it felt like a tiny bird held in your cupped hands. You hope they will keep it safe, tucked away. But here's the thing. Sometimes, people let those birds fly free, sharing private moments that were meant only for two. This isn't just about gossip. It's about something much deeper. When someone tells you something truly private, they're giving you a piece of their inner world. They're trusting you with their fears, their hopes, their little doubts. This act of sharing builds a quiet bridge between two hearts. For a long, long time, people have understood this. Ancient stories, old proverbs, they all speak of the sacredness of a whispered word. A promise, once given, was like a law. To break that trust, to tell someone else what was shared, felt like breaking a powerful agreement, not just a casual chat. It meant you didn't respect the other person's heart or their quiet feelings. Think of it like this. Imagine you've built a small, perfect sandcastle on the beach. You tell one friend about your secret dream to make it the biggest castle ever. It's a fragile dream, only just formed. If that friend then shouts your secret dream to everyone on the beach, the magic of it, the personal hope, just shrinks away. It feels exposed. It's not about the sandcastle anymore. It's about the feeling that your private hope wasn't safe. And that's why it matters so much. Trust, once broken by spilled secrets, is like trying to put together a puzzle with missing pieces. You can try, but it's never quite whole again. It reminds us that there's a gentle strength in keeping another person's private world safe. A quiet understanding that builds a true connection. Not caring about their friends. Have you ever paused to think about all the different people who make up your best friend's world? It's not just you, right? There are family, classmates, and then there are friends. When we truly care about someone, it means caring about the whole person, and a big part of who they are, who they've become, comes from their friends. Here's the thing. Ignoring or dismissing the friends of someone you care about can feel like ignoring a piece of them. It's like saying, I only want this part of you, not the parts that your friends helped shape. Ancient thinkers, like the Greeks, knew humans are social creatures. They understood that friendships are like strong threads that weave together the rich, colorful cloth of our lives. These aren't just random people. They're the ones who've shared secrets, inside jokes, and who have seen each other through good and tough times. They hold memories that shaped the person you know. Think of a tall, strong tree. Its branches reach high, but its roots spread wide and deep, connecting to the soil, holding it steady. Those roots are like our friends, our community. If someone only cares about the leaves on one branch, maybe just you, and tries to prune away or ignore those vital roots, the whole tree can become unsteady. Not caring about their friends is like trying to cut off those roots. You're dismissing a core part of their support system, their past, and their present happiness. Love, in its truest form, means respecting and embracing the entire person. It means understanding that their friends are important pieces of their story. When we show an interest in their friendships, when we value those connections, we show that we value them completely. It reminds us that love isn't just about building a small world for two. It's about opening our hearts to cherish all the beautiful connections that make a person whole. Being rude to their family. Have you ever felt that quiet, sinking feeling when someone you care about acts unkindly towards your family? It's a strange ache, isn't it? Because our families, whether by blood or by choice, are often woven deeply into the very fabric of who we are. They are our first world, our first teachers, our first protectors. When someone dismisses or disrespects them, it can feel like a direct hit to a sacred part of our own soul. It's almost as if they're saying, I don't truly value the people who helped make you. For centuries, across cultures and history, the family unit has been seen as the very core of who we are. Think of ancient tribes, where your strength and identity were deeply tied to your kin. Or consider old stories, where loyalty to kin was everything. There's a very old, very human understanding that our roots matter. Our families are the first chapters of our story, long before anyone else joins it. Imagine your life as a tree. Your friends might be like the leaves and blossoms, adding color to your branches, but your family, they are the deep roots, anchoring you to the earth, and the sturdy trunk that holds everything upright. They feed you, support you, and give you your fundamental shape. So, when someone is careless or unkind towards your roots, it doesn't just hurt those hidden parts. It weakens the whole tree. It shows they might not fully grasp the strength that makes you, you. So, being kind to someone's family isn't just about good manners. It's a quiet understanding of their past, a gentle respect for their present, and a true acceptance of their whole being. It's a way of saying, I see all of you, including the history that has wonderfully shaped you, and I choose to honor that. It teaches us that true connection, true love, grows strongest when it respects all the pieces that make a person whole. The power struggle. Have you ever noticed how sometimes, even with people you really care about, it feels like a quiet battle? Like two forces pushing against each other. This feeling, this unseen tug-of-war, is what we call the power struggle. In relationships, it's a habit that can slowly chip away at true connection. Here's the thing, it's not always about big, angry arguments. Sometimes, it's just about who gets to decide what movie to watch, or whose turn it is to pick dinner. It's a subtle dance where each person wants their ideas or feelings to be the most important. We all naturally want to feel heard, to feel like our choices matter, and that's okay. But here's the problem. If this need for control happens too much, if it's always about one person trying to control the other, it can really hurt the love between you. Think about groups of people, even way back in history. They always had to figure out who was in charge, who held the power. What wise people learned over time is that when everyone fights for control, the group often falls apart. It's like trying to row a boat where everyone tries to steer in a different direction. You just spin in circles. You see this in small ways every day. Imagine you and a friend are working on a school project. One person always wants their idea to be the main idea, or insists on doing things their way. They might not mean to be bossy, but they're trying to control the project. It stops being about working as a team and starts being about who's in charge. That can make the other person feel ignored or unimportant. So, what does this mean for love? It means understanding that love isn't about winning or losing. It's not a competition. True strength in a relationship comes from letting go of the need to control. It's about sharing the steering wheel, taking turns. It's about making sure both voices are heard and both hearts feel safe. When you do that, the struggle fades and deeper connection grows. That's why it matters. Making them feel small. Have you ever felt like you disappeared when someone was talking? Or maybe, after a conversation, you felt just a little bit less yourself. That's what it feels like to be made to feel small. It's not about your size. It's about someone making you feel unimportant, like your thoughts don't matter, or your feelings are silly. Think about old stories, even from ancient times. People have always believed in the importance of respect. From the earliest philosophers to stories about kings and common folk, there's this quiet understanding. Each person has a unique light inside them. When we make someone feel small, it's like we're dimming their light, even if we don't mean to. It's about taking away their dignity, the quiet sense that they matter just as much as anyone else. Imagine you're trying to explain something you're excited about, maybe a cool science project or a new game strategy, and the person just rolls their eyes, or sighs, or says, "That's stupid," or they talk over you, finishing your sentences. That's a quiet way of making you feel small. It's like they're saying your idea, your excitement, even you, don't measure up. It's like trying to see a tiny star next to a super bright streetlight. The star is still there, still shining, but the streetlight makes it so hard to notice. Your light gets lost. So here's the thing, our words, our actions, they have weight. They can build someone up, or they can, without a single shout, quietly chip away at their spirit. True strength isn't about making others shrink. It's about recognizing that everyone carries a world inside them, and treating that world, that inner light, with care. Because when we help someone's light shine brighter, our own world becomes a little brighter too. Not giving compliments. Have you ever seen something beautiful, or noticed someone doing something really kind, but then you just kept it to yourself, like the thought was there, a little spark of warmth, but it never quite made it out into the air? This is a quiet habit, this not speaking up. It's not about being mean. Often, it's just being busy, or maybe shy, or thinking the other person already knows how great they are. But here's the thing, when we don't share those good thoughts, when we don't give a compliment, something gentle begins to fade, like a color losing its brightness. Think about this. For centuries, humans have found strength and joy in being seen, in being valued. Ancient cultures knew that words of praise built up people and made communities stronger. This need to know our efforts matter, that our presence makes a difference, is deeply human. It's not about ego, it's about connection. It's about knowing you're part of something, that your light is noticed. Imagine a plant, a sunflower reaching for the sun. It needs that light, that energy, to grow tall and strong. Without it, even with good soil, it just won't thrive as fully. Our relationships are a bit like that plant. Compliments are like the sunlight. They're little bursts of positive energy that help others feel seen, appreciated, and loved. When we don't offer them, we hold back the light it needs to truly flourish. The connection might still exist, but it won't grow as vibrantly, won't feel as warm and alive. It's a slow erosion, a quiet kind of forgetting. Over time, when we hold back those small words of praise, the other person might start to feel less valued, less visible. They might wonder if you even notice them anymore, or if their efforts are just ordinary. And that's why it matters. Because love thrives on being acknowledged, on feeling cherished. It needs those gentle words, those honest observations, to remind them they are truly seen and deeply appreciated. It's about keeping the light on, even when life gets busy. Always complaining. Have you ever walked into a room where the air just feels heavy? Not because anything terrible has happened, but because a quiet hum of unhappiness seems to fill the space. This is often the subtle way that constant complaining settles in. It's not the loud cry of a real problem, but a steady, soft drumbeat of dissatisfaction. Every small thing becomes a reason to sigh or frown. The pizza is cold, the movie is boring, the weather is just wrong. Long, long ago, people thought deeply about how to live a good life. They didn't have cell phones or video games, but they understood human feelings. Thinkers from ancient Greece to old Eastern lands often spoke of finding peace, not by changing the world around you, but by changing how you see it. They knew that if your mind is always looking for what's wrong, it will certainly find it. Here's the thing about our brains. They are powerful pattern makers. If we complain often, our brain gets very good at spotting flaws. It's like a gardener who only sees the weeds, missing all the beautiful flowers. This habit becomes a path in our minds, easy to follow, even when it leads us to a place of grumbling. Imagine you're trying to build something wonderful with someone, maybe a strong friendship or a warm family bond. Every shared complaint is like a tiny drop of dark paint. One drop isn't much, but if you keep adding drops, slowly, steadily, the whole picture starts to darken. This doesn't happen with a shout or a fight. It's a quiet fading, like an old song, losing its melody. Our connections need light, warmth, and shared appreciation to truly grow. When we fill conversations with constant grumbling, it can quietly, almost invisibly, wear down the joy between people. It pushes away the gentle feelings that make love and friendship bloom. So, maybe, the truest wisdom is to seek the light, even when shadows fall, and to appreciate the quiet gifts of everyday life. The lack of apologies. Have you ever felt a small crack appear between you and someone you care about? Maybe after a misunderstanding, or when something hurtful was said. What happens when no one ever says, "I'm sorry"? It's more than just words, isn't it? An apology is a quiet promise. It says, "I see the hurt I caused," or "I understand I messed up." It's a way to mend what feels broken, to put things back right. For a long time, humans have understood this deep need. In old stories, when someone wronged another, there was a way to make amends. It was about fixing the bond, restoring balance. It's like a quiet law. If you accidentally step on someone's foot, you offer a quick "my bad" to smooth things over. When that simple act is missing, things can feel off. Imagine you accidentally bump into a friend, making them drop their books. You know it was an accident. But if you just walk away without a word, without even a look of regret, something shifts. That small, unacknowledged bump can feel bigger. It's like a tiny, open wound. An apology is like cool water and a clean bandage that helps the wound start healing. Without it, the wound stays open, and it can sting much longer than it should. So, when apologies are missing, over and over, what happens to love? That little crack can become a deep canyon. Trust starts to fade like an old photograph. It becomes harder to feel safe, harder to feel truly seen. The absence of "I'm sorry" doesn't just mean a word isn't spoken. It means a chance for repair is lost. A piece of connection slowly disappears, leaving a silence that can feel very, very loud. Not forgiving quickly. Have you ever felt a knot tighten in your stomach when someone you care about messes up? Maybe they said something hurtful or did something unfair. What happens when that knot stays, day after day, week after week? This is what it means to not forgive quickly. It's when we hold on to that hurt, that anger, that disappointment, instead of trying to smooth it out and let it go. It doesn't mean we forget what happened or pretend it was okay. Not at all. It means choosing to release the heavy burden of anger from our own shoulders. Think about it like this. For centuries, wise thinkers have talked about how holding a grudge is like carrying a hot coal in your hand, hoping the other person gets burned. But who really feels the heat? It's you. Many ancient stories teach us that true strength isn't in holding on to every wrong, but in finding the courage to release it. Imagine you get a small cut on your finger. It hurts, right? Now, if you keep poking at that cut, or let dirt get into it, it won't heal. It might even get infected and hurt even more. But if you clean it gently, put a bandage on it, and let it be, your body works to heal it. It might leave a tiny scar, a reminder, but the pain goes away. Not forgiving quickly is like constantly picking at that emotional wound, keeping it raw and painful. It stops us, and the people around us, from moving forward. So, when we choose to forgive, we're not just being kind to someone else, we're being kind to ourselves. We're freeing up space in our hearts and minds that was filled with old pain. It allows us to breathe easier, to see things clearly again, and to make room for new, happier feelings. It's a quiet act of self-care, letting the sunshine back in. Being a drama starter, have you ever seen a tiny spark turn into a big, roaring fire, not because of wind, but because someone kept adding small twigs? That's a bit like being a drama starter. It's not about being a bad person. It's a habit, where a small issue, a quiet disagreement, or a misunderstanding becomes larger. It's like finding a small crack in glass and making it spread until it shatters. For ages, people have told stories about how small actions lead to big problems. Think about old legends, where a tiny insult could start a massive war, or a whispered rumor could bring down a kingdom. This pull towards conflict, sometimes just for attention, is deep in human nature. Ancient Greek plays showed characters facing huge struggles from a small flaw. These stories teach us that stirring up trouble, even for a moment, has lasting effects. Imagine a calm pond, its surface smooth. Then, someone throws a tiny pebble. It doesn't seem like much, but watch the ripples. They spread out, wider and wider, touching every edge. Being a drama starter is like being that person with the pebble. Small comments about clothes, tiny complaints, little sighs meant to be heard. These are the pebbles. They might feel harmless, but they create waves of tension, worry, and anger that wash over everyone. What started as nothing can feel like a storm. So, it makes us think, doesn't it? Every word, every reaction is like dropping a pebble into a shared pond. We decide if we want to create calm, clear water, or if we want to send out ripples that disturb the peace. It's a quiet power we all hold, the power to choose calm over chaos, to mend rather than to break. And maybe that quiet choice is the greatest strength of all. Overthinking everything. Have you ever just kept thinking about something over and over again until your mind felt like a tangled ball of yarn? It's like a song stuck on repeat, but instead of a catchy tune, it's a worry, a doubt, or a past moment you can't quite let go of. This is overthinking. It's when our thoughts get caught in a loop, picking apart every tiny detail. We replay conversations from yesterday, wondering if we said the right thing. We imagine all the bad things that might happen tomorrow, even if there's no real reason to believe they will. We search for hidden meanings in a friend's quiet look or a short text message, creating problems that don't exist outside our heads. People have wrestled with busy minds for a very long time. Thousands of years ago, wise thinkers, like some ancient Greek philosophers, spoke about how much power our thoughts hold. They understood that our minds could become like prisons if we allowed worries and doubts to rule them. They taught that true peace comes not from what happens to us, but from how we react to it. They knew that often, our biggest struggles are inside our own heads, not out in the world. Imagine you sent a simple text to a friend, just checking in, and they haven't replied yet. Instead of just trusting they're busy, your mind might start to race. Did I say something wrong? Are they mad at me? What if they're ignoring me forever? These thoughts can spin out of control, making you feel anxious and upset, even though your friend might simply be doing homework, eating dinner, or just haven't seen the message. Your worry isn't real, but the feeling it creates is. This constant churning in our minds can slowly, quietly, chip away at the trust that holds relationships together. When we are caught in overthinking, we aren't truly present with the other person. We are living inside our heads, making up dramatic stories, instead of truly seeing and hearing the real one unfolding before us. Love needs space to breathe, not a tangled mess of what-ifs and should-haves. It needs belief, a gentle hand reaching out, not endless doubt pulling back. So, here's the quiet truth. Sometimes, the kindest thing we can do for ourselves, and for those we care about, is to simply let the thought go, to trust what is, in this very moment, instead of fearing what might never be. Not trusting your gut. Have you ever felt a soft whisper inside you, a tiny flicker of unease, even when everything looks fine on the outside? Or maybe a warm, certain feeling, telling you something is just right. This quiet voice, this inner nudge, is what we often call our gut feeling. It's not magic. It's your brain working super fast, noticing small clues your conscious mind hasn't quite put together yet. It's like a secret message from your deepest self. For a very long time, people have talked about this inner knowing. Ancient thinkers and wise storytellers from different cultures believed it was important to listen to your heart or trust your inner wisdom. They saw it as a deep, natural guide. It's like our very first warning system, built right in. Here's the thing. Imagine you're about to try a new activity. Everyone else is excited, but your stomach feels a little squiggly. Or you meet someone new. They say all the right things, but a tiny part of you feels off. That's your gut talking. It's like a finely tuned instrument, a deep instinctual understanding. Think of a bird knowing to fly south for winter. When we ignore that subtle signal about a friend or a choice, we might walk right into something uncomfortable or even harmful. It's like sailing a ship and ignoring the quiet creaks that tell you a storm is coming. And that's why it matters. Learning to pause and truly listen to that inner feeling is a powerful thing. It's a way of being honest with yourself. When you honor that quiet wisdom, you begin to trust yourself more deeply. This trust in yourself is the foundation for building genuine, healthy connections with others. It helps you find your way, like a calm compass, guiding you toward what feels true and good. Letting fears win. Have you ever felt a tiny shiver deep down when it comes to someone you care about? A small whisper of what if that makes your heart feel a little tighter. That whisper is often fear. It tells us to protect ourselves, to pull back, to build invisible walls around our hearts, instead of opening pathways. It's like our heart's very own alarm system, hitting the brakes even when we want to move forward. We worry about getting hurt, about being misunderstood, or about not being good enough. And so, sometimes, we let these quiet fears guide our actions, pushing away the very closeness and understanding we truly long for. People have thought about this hidden battle for thousands of years. Even ancient Greek thinkers, like Plato, explored how our inner thoughts and feelings can either lift us up or hold us back. They understood that true courage wasn't about having no fear at all, but about bravely facing those fears with wisdom. It's a very old human struggle. This quiet dance between wanting real connection and being scared of what it might cost us. Imagine you really want to share a small, private dream with a trusted friend, but then, a tiny voice inside whispers, what if they laugh? What if they don't understand? So, you keep it locked away. That feeling is like a gentle gate closing. In friendships and relationships, letting fears win means we might hide true parts of ourselves, or avoid honest conversations. We might even imagine problems that aren't truly there, all because our fear is trying to protect us, but it ends up keeping us distant. Here's the thing. Love, real connection, asks for a quiet kind of bravery. It's choosing to be open, to share your authentic self, even when it makes your heart feel a little wobbly. It's learning to listen to that fear, to acknowledge its presence, but not letting it steer the whole ship. Because true understanding and deep connection often bloom beautifully in the brave spaces where we gently push past our fears, allowing ourselves to be seen and to see others fully and honestly. Ignoring warning signs. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the smallest whisper is the loudest warning? Like a tiny crack in a favorite mug. What happens when we choose not to hear those whispers, not to see those small cracks in our relationships? This is about ignoring warning signs. It's when a small problem, a tiny hurt, appears, but we turn away. Maybe it's easier not to look. Perhaps we hope it will just go away. But here's the thing. Those little signs are quiet messengers telling us something important. Long ago, ancient thinkers talked about paying attention to the world. Not just big, obvious things, but subtle hints. They believed wisdom came from noticing small shifts, quiet signals. It's like a doctor listening to a patient's soft cough, knowing it might mean something bigger. Ignoring small signs early can lead to larger problems. We often see what we want, not always the truth. Think about a bicycle chain that starts to squeak. You can still ride it, but without oil, that squeak gets louder. Eventually, the chain might rust, or break, leaving you stranded. That first little squeak was a warning sign. In relationships, it could be a friend always forgetting plans, or a family member making hurtful jokes. At first, it's just a squeak, but if ignored, it can grow into a broken connection. So, maybe real strength isn't just fixing big problems, but having the quiet courage to face the small ones. It's about learning to listen for those whispers, to see those tiny cracks, even when it feels uncomfortable. Each ignored whisper carries a silent weight. Sometimes, the most loving thing we can do is to simply notice, to be present, gently acknowledging what's truly there. The habit of excuses. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to find a reason why something didn't happen, or why you couldn't do something? Maybe you were late, and suddenly, the traffic was terrible, or your alarm didn't go off. This is the habit of excuses, and it's a quiet destroyer in our relationships, like a tiny crack that slowly spreads. Here's the thing, an excuse is often a way we try to protect ourselves. It's a shield we hold up, hoping to avoid blame or discomfort. Instead of saying, "I made a mistake," or "I forgot," we point to something outside ourselves. For a long time, thinkers have explored this human tendency. They've understood that facing our own actions, both good and bad, is part of becoming a whole person. It's hard work, much harder than just finding someone or something else to blame. Think of it like a broken step on a staircase. Every time someone trips, they might say, "Oh, the light was bad," or "I wasn't paying attention." But the real problem is the broken step itself. If no one ever admits the step is broken and takes responsibility for fixing it, people will keep tripping. In a relationship, the broken step might be a forgotten promise, an unspoken hurt, or a repeated unkindness. When we make excuses for these broken steps, we never actually fix them. We just put a temporary bandage on something that needs real attention. This can help you see that excuses keep us stuck. They stop us from learning, from growing, and from truly connecting with others. When we refuse to make excuses, when we choose to look honestly at our own part, we clear the path for something real. We make space for apology, for understanding, and for genuine change. It takes courage to drop the shield, but that courage is what builds a love that lasts, a love built on clear sight and an open heart. Not taking responsibility. Have you ever noticed how sometimes, when something goes wrong, our first thought is to point a finger? "It wasn't me," or "it just happened." This urge to shift blame away from ourselves is not taking responsibility. Here's the thing, it means not owning our part in what happens. It's like wearing an invisible shield, trying to protect ourselves from feeling bad. But this shield doesn't truly protect us. It stops us from learning. Think about it. Even long ago, thinkers knew every action has a ripple, like dropping a stone in a pond makes waves. Our choices create effects. If we pretend we didn't drop the stone, the ripples still spread. It's about seeing how our actions shape our world. Imagine you're building a tall tower with blocks. You place a block, and maybe it's not quite steady. The tower wiggles, and then, crash, a few blocks fall. You could say, the blocks were faulty, or the table shook. But the truth is, you placed that unsteady block. If you don't realize that, you'll probably place another wobbly block next time. But if you stop, look at your hand, and think, "I need to place this more carefully," then you learn. You become a better builder. In relationships, it's the same. If you say something hurtful, and instead of saying, "I'm really sorry, I messed up," you say, "Well, you're too sensitive. You're not taking responsibility." That might feel easier for a second, but it leaves a small crack in trust. Those cracks, if left unfixed, can grow. When we bravely say, "My bad, I can do better," we show we value the relationship. This is how we truly grow, facing our actions, even when uncomfortable. It's a path to real strength and deeper connection. The constant testing. Have you ever found yourself asking the same question over and over, even after you've gotten a clear answer? Or maybe you keep checking on someone just to see if they're still there for you, still caring. This deep, often hidden need to constantly check and recheck feelings is what we call the constant testing. It's like you're trying to find a crack in someone's care, even when it feels strong. It's not about curiosity. It's a deeper doubt, a quiet fear that makes you keep looking for proof, even when proof has already been given. For centuries, people have wrestled with how to truly trust each other. Ancient thinkers, long ago, talked about trust as a cornerstone, like a strong base for any lasting friendship or bond. It's a very old human feeling, this search for certainty in our relationships. We want to know for sure. But here's the thing, real, true love isn't something you can test over and over like a science experiment. You can't keep pushing buttons to see if someone will react exactly how you want. Imagine a delicate, beautiful spiderweb, sparkling with dew. It's built with amazing strength, able to hold little drops of water and catch tiny insects. But what if you kept poking it with your finger, just to see if it would break? Every poke might weaken a strand. Eventually, even the strongest web could tear. It's the same with trust in a connection. Constantly testing it, always pushing to see its limits, can actually cause the very thing you fear, a tear, a break in that bond. True love and deep friendship aren't about passing endless tests. They're not about proving how much someone cares every single day. Instead, they're about letting go of the need to test at all. It's about trusting the quiet, steady connection that's already there. When we stop testing, we make room for something calm and truly strong to grow. Something that doesn't need to be checked and rechecked. We allow trust to simply exist, like the peaceful quiet of a starlit night. Playing mind games, have you ever found yourself trying to guess what someone truly meant, instead of just understanding their words? That feeling, where what's said isn't quite what's felt, is often what we call playing mind games. It's when people don't say what they really feel, what they truly want, or what they need. Instead, they might drop hints, give you a test to see your reaction, or try to make you feel a certain way without being direct. It's like they're trying to move pieces on a chessboard of emotions, but you're not even sure you're playing, or what the rules are. For thousands of years, thinkers have warned about tricky communication. Ancient philosophers, like those in old Greece, believed that true wisdom came from clear, honest talk. They understood that hiding intentions, or trying to trick others, just created confusion and slowly broke down trust. This made it impossible to build real connections. How can you truly bond if you're always trying to figure out a hidden agenda, or if their words feel like a maze? Imagine this. It's like when someone posts a cryptic message online, hoping you'll ask what's wrong, instead of just telling you directly. Or, picture a friend who gives you the silent treatment after an argument, just to see if you'll notice they're upset, and then beg them to talk. This isn't direct. It forces you to guess, to work hard to understand something that could be said simply. It leaves you feeling unsure and frustrated. Here's the thing. Real connection doesn't grow in shadows. It needs light. It needs honesty. When we play games, we build walls instead of bridges between people. True love and friendship need open doors, not locked puzzles. So, maybe the deepest wisdom is simply to say what you mean and truly mean what you say. It lets others see your heart clearly, and that is how real trust begins to grow. Not being present. Have you ever talked to someone, and they were looking right at you, but you could tell their mind was a million miles away? Maybe their eyes just weren't there. It's a strange feeling, like you're speaking into an empty room, even though someone is standing right in front of you. That quiet, empty space is what we call not being present. It's when your body shows up, but your thoughts are busy somewhere else, maybe replaying a game, or just scrolling through a mental feed of random worries. Here's the thing. Being present means giving your full attention, your whole self, to the moment you are in. Think about ancient thinkers. Greek philosophers like the Stoics talked about focusing only on what is happening now. In Eastern traditions, like Buddhism, they practice mindfulness, a way of training your mind to stay in the present moment, without letting thoughts pull you away. These ideas teach us that our minds can wander easily. For true connection, we need to gently bring our minds back to this moment, with this person, as if it's the most important place to be. Imagine you're trying to tell a friend something important, like how you really feel after a tough day. You're sharing your heart, and they're holding their phone, just glancing up now and then. Even if they say, you can feel a thick, invisible wall between you. It's like trying to catch rain in a basket. Your words just fall through. This feeling can hurt deeply. When someone isn't present, it makes you feel unimportant, like your story isn't interesting enough to pull their attention away from their distraction. It's not just rude. It slowly chips away at the invisible threads of trust and closeness that hold a relationship together. Each time it happens, a small part of that connection might fray. So, here's what matters. Real connection asks us to arrive fully, with open hearts and focused minds. It's about more than just showing up in person. It's about showing up with your whole self. Because when we truly see each other, when we truly hear the quiet whispers of another's heart, that's where understanding blooms. And it is in that gentle blooming that love grows, quiet and strong. Losing the fun together. Have you ever noticed how some things just feel lighter, brighter, when you're doing them with someone you really like? Think about a friendship, or even a family bond. In the beginning, there's often so much laughter, so many silly moments, so much joy in just being together. But sometimes, as time goes on, that playful spirit can start to fade. It's like a favorite song slowly losing its melody, note by note, until it's just a quiet hum. It's not about big arguments. It's about the small, everyday fun, the jokes, the easy smiles, the shared silliness that slowly starts to disappear. Throughout history, people have always understood how important play is. Even ancient thinkers knew that play helped people learn and grow, not just kids. Adults also needed moments of lightness and joy. They knew that when life became only serious and about duties, the connection between people could feel heavy and less alive. This idea shows that fun has always been part of deep human connection. Imagine you have a favorite board game. When you first play it with someone, you're making silly mistakes and just enjoying the moment. But what if, over time, every game became only about winning, with no room for jokes? The game is still there, but the fun part, the shared joy, might be gone. It's the same with relationships. If the playful, easy parts fade, the connection can feel less bright. Psychologists often say that playfulness is like the glue that keeps people feeling close and connected, making memories and easing stress. So, when the simple joy of just being together starts to dim, it's a quiet signal. It reminds us that love and friendship aren't just about big feelings or important talks. They also need that gentle light of shared fun, those little bursts of laughter that make life feel good and keep hearts soft and open. Making space for joy helps everything else stay strong. The silent agreement to drift. Have you ever noticed how some friendships, or even family connections, don't end with a big argument, but just quietly fade away? It's not always a loud fight that pulls people apart. Sometimes, it's a silent agreement to drift. This happens when two people, without a single spoken word, stop putting in the effort. They stop reaching out. They stop truly listening. And little by little, like boats untethered from shore, they simply float further and further apart. Think about it like this. If you have a plant, and you just stop watering it, it doesn't scream or yell. It simply starts to wilt. Its leaves droop, then turn brown, until eventually, it's gone. You didn't actively kill it. You just stopped giving it what it needed. This idea that neglecting something can be just as powerful as actively harming it has been around for centuries. Ancient thinkers, like those in Greece, understood how our daily habits, even tiny ones, truly shape our lives and our connections. They knew that not doing something can also be a choice, with real outcomes. Here's an example. Imagine two classmates who always used to share their lunch stories. One day, one starts looking at their phone during lunch. The other notices, but doesn't say anything. The next day, both are on their phones. Soon, sharing stories just stops. No one said, "Let's stop talking," but they silently agreed to let that connection lessen. This can happen in any relationship, a slow, gentle letting go. So, here's the thing. This silent agreement to drift reminds us that true connection isn't just about avoiding arguments. It's about constantly choosing to be present, to nurture, to notice the small shifts. It shows us that love and friendship, like anything alive, need tending. And sometimes, the most important conversations are the ones we have with ourselves about how much we care, and if we're truly showing it. Not having shared dreams. Have you ever thought about what makes two different rivers flow together, instead of just running side by side? It's a bit like shared dreams in a relationship. When people truly connect, it's not just about today. It's about where they see themselves going, and if their future pictures look similar enough to walk towards together. Here's the thing. Human beings, for a very long time, have looked to the horizon. Ancient thinkers talked about it, a purpose or distant goal. They believed people were happiest aiming for something important. So, when two people build a life, they often look for someone whose path feels like it's heading in a similar way. Think of two friends building a treehouse. One dreams of a slide, the other a quiet reading spot with flowers. Both want a treehouse, but their visions are very different. If they don't talk and combine ideas, building that treehouse becomes hard. it might never feel right for either. In relationships, it's not about having identical dreams, it's about sharing some core ideas about life, like what matters most or what future you want. If one dreams of traveling the world, and the other dreams of staying in one small town, their paths might slowly drift apart if they don't discuss it. It's like two ships heading for completely different ports, and that's why it matters. When dreams aren't shared, or at least understood, a quiet distance can grow. It's not a loud fight, but a soft, slow pulling away. It reminds us, love isn't just about the present, it's about building a future, hand in hand. Even if the scenery looks a little different, the journey itself can still be shared. Failing to protect them, have you ever felt truly safe with someone? Like deep down, you knew they would always have your back. It's a wonderful feeling, isn't it? But what happens when that feeling starts to fade? Failing to protect them isn't just about physical safety, like keeping someone from getting hurt. It's also about guarding their heart, their secrets, and their good name. It means being a safe place, a quiet harbor in a stormy world. When we care for someone, we become a kind of shield, even against small harms like gossip or careless words. Think about people from long ago, living in small villages. Protecting each other was how they survived. If one person was vulnerable, the whole group was weaker. This is a deep human truth. We all need to feel secure and valued, especially by those closest to us. When that trust breaks, like if someone shares your private thoughts, or lets others make fun of you, it hurts more than just feelings. It breaks a silent promise that you are safe with them. Here's the thing, imagine a tiny, fragile plant. You give it water and sunlight, but then you leave it in a harsh storm, or let people kick its pot over. Even if it doesn't die, it gets weaker. It might wilt and stop growing. That's a bit like a relationship. The other person is that plant. Your job, as someone who cares, is to make sure they are safe, even from small harms. If you don't stand up for them, or let others disrespect them, or betray their trust, you're exposing them to a storm. So, when we fail to protect the people we love, we aren't just letting something bad happen. We are slowly chipping away at the foundation of trust and safety that love needs. It's a quiet crumbling, a slow fading of warmth. A loving connection needs a strong, safe space to truly bloom. Letting distance grow. Have you ever felt a small space open up between you and someone you care about? It's not a sudden break, like a snapped string. Instead, it's more like two paths that slowly start curving away from each other, bit by bit. This is what we mean by letting distance grow. It happens when we stop putting in the little efforts that keep a connection strong. Think of it like a garden path you used to walk with a friend every day. If you stop walking it, weeds start to sprout, the edges become unclear. Soon, it's harder to see where the path even was. That path is your connection, and the weeds are the silence, the unshared moments, the thoughts you keep to yourself. Long ago, people lived in smaller groups. They depended on each other for everything, from finding food to telling stories around a fire. Connection wasn't just nice, it was how they survived. They understood, in a deep way, that staying close was vital. This basic human need for belonging, for real connection, hasn't changed. It's still inside all of us. So, here's the thing, distance often starts quietly. Maybe you stop sharing small stories about your day. You might miss a text message, or forget to ask how something went. These tiny acts, by themselves, don't seem like much. But when they add up, when they become a habit, they create a space. That space can feel like a quiet canyon, making it harder and harder to reach across. It reminds me of two boats on a calm lake. If they are tied together, they stay side by side. But if the rope is untied, even the smallest breeze will slowly push them apart. They won't notice it right away, but eventually, they'll be too far to easily call out to each other. Keeping ties strong needs care. It's about noticing the tiny currents and choosing to stay connected. The unspoken expectations. Have you ever felt a small shadow of disappointment, or even a quiet frustration, with someone you care about, but couldn't quite say why? It's like there's a rule they broke, but you never actually told them the rule. Here's the thing, sometimes we carry around what we call unspoken expectations. These are like invisible contracts we've made in our own minds. Silent agreements we assume others just know. For a long time, humans learned how the world worked through customs and traditions. You watched what your elders did, and you just knew what was expected. There was a sort of shared understanding. a quiet script everyone followed without needing to read it aloud. Our brains are built to look for patterns, and sometimes we create these patterns of expectation in our heads, based on what we've seen or how we think things should be. Imagine you lend a friend your favorite hoodie. In your mind, you probably expect them to return it clean, maybe even folded, within a few days. You don't say this, but it's a strong, quiet expectation. If they give it back wrinkled a week later, you might feel a little sting of hurt or surprise, even though you never said the rules. That silent rule, your unspoken expectation, was broken. It's like expecting a specific song to play on the radio just because you really want to hear it, without ever picking up the phone to request it. And that's why these quiet agreements matter so much. When they aren't met, they can build invisible walls, making us feel confused or let down without really knowing why. True connection asks us to be brave enough to name these silent hopes. It means gently sharing the whispers of our hearts, not just assuming others hear them. It's how we turn those hidden thoughts into shared understanding, one honest conversation at a time. Not valuing their opinion. Have you ever shared an idea, a thought that felt important, only for someone to brush it aside, like your words just floated away, unheard? It's a quiet ache, isn't it? This feeling of being unseen or unheard touches the heart of not valuing someone's opinion. Here's the thing, when we don't truly listen to what another person thinks, when we dismiss their viewpoint without a second thought, we're telling them, in a silent way, that their mind, their feelings, their very way of seeing the world, doesn't quite matter. Imagine a time long ago, when wise people sat in circles, not just to speak, but to truly listen. They knew understanding came from opening your mind to different ideas, not just sticking to your own. That listening was a deep form of respect. It showed you believed another person held a piece of truth. To think about a school play. Each actor, each stagehand, everyone behind the scenes has ideas for how to make it better. Maybe one person thinks the lighting should be softer here, or another believes a line needs more feeling. If the director only listened to their own ideas, ignoring everyone else, the play might miss something beautiful. It might feel flat. But when everyone's opinion is heard, even if not every idea is used, it builds something richer, something that truly shines. It makes everyone feel like a vital part of the creation. When we constantly dismiss what someone thinks, it's like we're slowly dimming their light. We're taking away their voice, piece by piece. Over time, that person might stop sharing, stop trying, because they've learned their thoughts aren't welcome. And a relationship needs the light of both people to glow brightly. True connection grows when we make space for each other's minds, valuing their thoughts as much as our own. It's about building a bridge of understanding, one listened to, opinion at a time. It's how we show love, by truly seeing and hearing the whole person. Making jokes at their expense. Have you ever heard a joke, and everyone laughed, but a tiny part of you felt a quiet sting? Maybe it wasn't even your joke. You just saw it happen to someone else. This is making jokes at their expense. It's when humor comes with a hidden cost. You might think it's just harmless fun, a little teasing. But here's the thing. Words are more powerful than we often realize. They aren't just sounds that disappear. They land somewhere. Inside us, inside the person listening. Think about this. Every relationship is like a carefully built house of trust. Each kind word adds a sturdy brick. Each shared smile makes it stronger. But a joke at someone's expense, especially about something they're sensitive about, can be like pulling out a small brick, or even cracking one. Ancient thinkers, long ago, knew the power of speech. They taught that words can build bridges or dig ditches. They believed true respect meant valuing someone's feelings more than a quick laugh. It's about protecting their spirit, not making it vulnerable. Imagine a clear pond. Someone throws a tiny pebble. It makes a ripple, then sinks. Seems like nothing. But if pebbles keep landing in the same spot, the water gets cloudy. The surface is always disturbed. It's not clear and calm anymore. That's like repeated jokes that target someone's soft spots. Even if each joke feels small, they add up. They chip away at the feeling of safety. That person might feel less seen, less valued, or even hurt by you. The pond of trust becomes less clear. So, next time we think of a joke, let's pause. We can ask, will this build up or tear down? Because love asks us to be thoughtful. It asks us to protect the tender places in each other's hearts. True connection grows from deep respect, Laughter should always bring people closer, never push them apart. The lack of affection. Have you ever wondered what happens when quiet warmth goes missing from a space? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? When we talk about the lack of affection, it's not always about grand, dramatic moments. Often, it's the quiet absence of small, gentle acts that truly matters. It's when a hand isn't held, when a kind word isn't spoken, or when a comforting glance isn't given. These little things are like tiny sparks that keep a fire glowing between people. Without them, the fire can dim, slowly, almost without anyone noticing at first. But for thousands of years, people have understood that humans need to feel connected, to be shown care. Ancient thinkers, long before our time, often wrote about how important kindness and tenderness were for a healthy community. They saw that these simple acts of affection weren't just nice-to-haves. They were like the very glue that held families and friendships together. It's part of our basic human wiring, this deep need to feel seen, valued, and loved in small ways every day. Here's an example to think about. Imagine a small houseplant. You give it good soil and enough water, but what if it never gets any sunlight? What if it lives in constant shadow, never feeling the sun's gentle warmth? Even with good soil and water, that plant might struggle. It wouldn't grow as strong, its leaves might look dull, and it might not ever bloom. Our hearts and our relationships are a bit like that plant. They need sunlight too, in the form of affection. But when that steady stream of quiet affection dries up, a subtle but deep sadness can settle in. It's like a favorite song suddenly stopping, leaving an empty silence behind. This absence creates a feeling of being unseen or unimportant, which can slowly wear down the bond between people. Understanding this can help us see that true care isn't just about big gestures, but about the gentle, steady light we shine on each other every day. Giving up on growth. Have you ever thought about what happens when people in a relationship stop trying to grow? We sometimes believe love just is once it begins, like a finished picture. But love isn't a statue. It's a living thing, more like a garden. Giving up on growth means you stop trying to truly understand your partner, or even yourself. It's deciding there's nothing new to learn, no more effort. It's when you choose to stay perfectly still. Thinkers from long ago, even ancient Greeks, knew how important it was to always learn and improve. They saw it as a lifelong journey, vital for our own minds and for how we connect. They understood that if you stopped wanting to grow, things wouldn't just stay the same. In something as alive as a relationship, standing still often means slowly fading. Think about a small houseplant. When you get it, it's fresh and green. You give it water, sunlight, it grows, right? New leaves appear. But what if you suddenly decide it's done growing and just leave it? It won't stay green. It will slowly wilt, leaves drooping. It doesn't just stop growing, it starts dying. Our relationships are like that plant. They need constant care. New water, new light, meaning new efforts, new understanding, and kindness. So, here's the gentle truth. Love isn't about finding someone perfect and never changing. It's about two people, curious and brave, who keep learning and growing together. It's seeing each other not as finished stories, but as ongoing books, with new chapters always waiting. When we give up on growth, we close the book too soon. But when we choose to keep growing, we keep the story of love alive, forever becoming something new and beautiful. Forgetting why you started. Have you ever started something, maybe a new hobby or a friendship, with so much excitement, you felt a clear spark? But then, as days pass and things get busy or tough, it's easy to just forget that first reason. Here's the thing about relationships. Sometimes we forget why we chose to be there. We lose sight of the feelings that pulled us together, the quiet hopes, or the simple joy of connection. Wise thinkers across time talked about remembering your first principle, the core idea you started with. It's easy to get lost in the everyday and miss that bigger picture, the reason you began your journey. Imagine you decide to learn piano. At first, you dream of playing beautiful music, excited by every new note. But soon, practice becomes hard. Your fingers hurt. You focus only on the mistakes, not the music you dreamed of creating. You might even stop, not because you don't like music, but because you forgot why you sat down. That initial joy, the clear vision, gets buried under the effort, and that's how it can be in love, too. We get caught up in daily routines, in small disagreements, in endless chores. We might stop seeing the person we care about through the same eyes that first saw their kindness, their unique humor, or the way they made us feel understood. That quiet promise of togetherness, those shared dreams fade. So, here's what I found. Remembering why you started isn't about going back in time. It's about bringing that first light, that original purpose, into the present. It's about rediscovering the beauty you first saw, so the path ahead feels clear and meaningful. It's like finding your way back to a forgotten song's melody and making it sing again.